Welcome to day 4 of Fixed Ops Week with the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Grab your toolbox and roll up your sleeves, because today we're tuning up fixed operations with the tools, tips, and expert insights that keep the industry running smooth. Here to help us turn the wrench is our master mechanic, Vanessa Collins.
Good morning and welcome to day 4 of Fixed Ops Week. This is it, the final build-up before the grand finale. I'm Vanessa Collins of Lithia and Driveway, and if you've been with us all week, you know this isn't just another event. This is the biggest stage in Fixed Ops, where ideas turn into action and leaders show up to win. We've covered a lot of ground, but today we turn up the intensity and get you ready to finish strong. So lean in, turn it up, and let's make day 4 count. Don't just watch the show, be a part of it. Jump into the chat on the right-hand side of your screen and make some noise with us. Just be sure to select everyone and not just hosts and panelists. Let's keep the energy high all week long. Go, go, go. Aclaro.ai is bringing the data and the clarity to Fixed Ops. Let's welcome the team.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Aclaro panel with us. And Ted, these gentlemen on our screen today are going to be sharing a few stories, some specific, some relatable, and some slightly painful ones at that.
What a great team, Sarah. You're so right. Welcome to Aclaro.ai. I want to introduce the folks who are on the screen, not in any particular order. Jim Goldsmith, who is OEM warranty expert, 30 plus years in the industry, a former BMW warranty group leader. Victor is here with us, Delgado. He ran service and parts for some large dealership groups. Howard Blumstein, good friend of ours in the industry, knows dealerships, has that legendary Rolodex that's so important. Bill Russo, the DMS god, is with us. Bill, welcome. Carlos, good to see you, my friend. Carlos does the AI math. He'll take us through that today. And I think I've covered everybody, Sarah, except perhaps you and I. So with that, let's get rolling.
Well, to kick things off, I want to come over to Victor first, because I understand, in the interest for our audience today, these stories that you're going to help share with everyone. I know there's a specific one where you were describing a little bit about how when you were running a dealership and we're telling the dealership certain metrics and we're talking to your 20 group, there were those benchmarks on the wall, but reality looked a little bit different. So could you share with us a little bit more about that?
Certainly. When we look at growth in a dealership, we look at how much money we're bringing in, but sometimes we don't know what we're bringing in or how we're bringing it in. So normally we want to set up our matrices to give us X amount of number, and we hope that those get actually reflected back on the financial statement and eventually pay plans, right? And grows and that. But I could swear on a stack of Bibles that I could go 75%. I'm making up 75% markup across the board. Well, on paper, yes. But when you start looking at the detail, then it's a whole different story. And that's the beauty of the data. You have things that are making more than that and things that are making a lot less. You have people with fingers that are discounting here and there or improper settings in the system. And before you know it, you're giving stuff at cost, very precious dollars invested by the dealership, and you're giving them away at cost because nobody's looking at the data. And when now you're talking to a dealer 20 group or you're sitting in front of the GM with all of the other managers and this comes out, oof, bring your head down and open a hole and hopefully it's big enough to crawl into it. So yes, it is a big problem if we cannot see the data.
Bill, I want to come to you with a follow-up because as Ted mentioned, DMS God is your title here. And that is, I can tell this is a title that you did not earn lightly. This is something that's also very important in this perspective. So how are you seeing, some of these kinds of stories where, as Victor was describing, maybe it wasn't totally accurate on the P&L page, but there's some more stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so the DMS is really the single source of truth for a dealership. That's a dealer management system. The accounting system is really just a bookkeeping system, and it has a financial statement. So to approach being able to deal with data in a quality way, we have to really look at the underlying settings and the setups and the configuration of the dealership. Often there are setups that are done that remain in place for literally years until somebody finds them. And this particular product that we're offering, this is a big hole in seeing and getting your rates up is the effect of the setups on the rate. So that is really a core part of it. When the manufacturer approves any labor rate increase or parts markup increase, they want documentation, and their final documentation is usually the PDF or the repair order copies that they could visually look at. But a lot gets lost in between that we are able to identify and able to really apply our AI to. AI needs a huge data set and it needs clean data. So data hygiene for us is of paramount importance, and understanding the data structures within the DMS is very important.
And Carlos, what historically has happened in the experience that Victor and Bill are describing, and some of these more traditional and in some cases very dated process maps and pieces that dealerships are going through. How does this apply now with what you've built on the AI side?
Well, I've been in AI for about 30 years. So I've been through early ages. So I go back a long time. And we came back into the AI world about late 2019 or something along the lines. And when you look at the problems that Victor refers to, they are simple optimization problems. There's a math problem. So we look at the problem as, what's going on with the data? Where are we peaking on the data? Where are we filtering the data properly so we can come up with the best optimal number? So, I can get very geeky at that, but at the end is how do we look at the data and think of your climate and mountain? When do you get to the peak and you say, okay, we're here. This is the best solution that we have. And when you think about the number of times you do this, and this is what computers are so fast, so good at this, is we run thousands of optimizations. We run thousands of just changes to see how it fits, how it will pass. And at the end, it needs to pass muster with the OEM. So this you don't make this up. The data, what we provide is data driven. And sometimes, as Victor says, there are kind of ugly things out there. We think this is number and the data shows this, and you have this very bad discussion with the fixed operation director, VP, and saying, hey, you're giving away the farm. And those are ugly discussions and we're trying to get ahead of that. And there was some great products coming to that to help the managers to run their day to day with what am I doing right, what am I doing wrong.
I want to come to you, Victor, a little bit on some of the, if you will, horror stories that have happened in our industry. Victor, first, tell us a little bit about, I guess, what you call the phantom margin, if you will.
Well, you have these consultants that come into dealerships. And of course, the GM or owners believe these guys because they may have hundreds of follow through. But when they come in and they offer these things, you say, yeah, great, let's do what they say. Let's change some of these settings in the system. And now I'm going to jump another 20% of my gross. Well, little do they know that all the effects that are happening on the part side may be controlled by options and situations on the service side. If you have a menu pricing usually is a fixed price. You're done with that price, and a lot of times the lower portion of the gross goes to the parts department, even though you may be putting a lot of this stuff in there. On the other side, you may trigger happy people that want to increase the gross. So they make all these changes or reduce because they have a buddy that wants to reduce the ticket somehow so they can get it sold. So when you don't look at these exceptions and these overrides, you think you're making the world, you're getting diamonds when you're actually getting glass, because it's not really what you're working for. You do the settings, you expect them to follow through. And again, someone was there 20 years ago, or they just got onto this DMS, and they usually have a set of default setting. And unless you know where to look, unless you know what they do, unless you know the impact, guess what? You're working on 40, 50-year-old history, or whoever the parts manager was 6 years ago, 10 years ago. So yes, you can find out that some of your possibly better gross parts are being given away at a very low percentage, which eventually is going to affect your impact when you're doing a parts markup increase, because that's what they need to look at. What is the traffic paying? If we're overriding it low, we don't fix the data. It is what it is. I mean, whatever they do is what we show them. Like Carlos mentioned, there may be some discussions there they may not like, but we're not creating it. We're simply showing it. And it is hard if you think that you're doing great, and then the data shows totally different.
Jim Goldsmith, let me come to you. Jim, tell us a little bit more about what the OEM actually sees.
I think one of the things that was most surprising to me in a way when I was head of warranty at BMW of North America was how often the posted door rate was not being achieved by the dealer. You know, they were well below because service advisors were discounting excessively, and all of a sudden, and they think they're at that door rate. In reality, before they even get started, they're well below it. They don't realize it. And then they want to make a submission to the warranty department. And then when we audit it, they're already, you know, in the hole. And then we're seeing, you know, the wrong labor ops, bad math, missing ROs, and they're just starting way behind just to begin with. And they really hurt themselves a lot doing that. And that was really surprising. So, you know, that's one of the things that we can offer is that we can help dealers see some of these things and point it out to them and make a better submission.
I'm already seeing and feeling the experience on this panel and how you're coming at it from several angles. Bill, tell us a little bit about the DMS black box, if you will.
Okay, so the DMS is maybe more of a black hole than a black box, but because the different departments, as you know, dealerships have variable fixed operations. Within fixed, you have service, you have parts, you may have body, but primarily between service and parts, there is a big disconnect in terms of their objectives sometimes. As this black box, and I've put together lots of software for many of the top DMS providers, and I had the DMS which I sold back in the 90s. We really looked at the integration between parts and service because they're working towards a common goal. So when you have situations where a service department wants to take a menu, let's say, and put a $300 menu item and maybe stick $250 of the labor and $50 of the parts, parts really gets hurt on that, but service sometimes is the one that's setting up the menus and you don't have the setup. So taking the silos of service and parts and the settings and being able to explain them to the managers in the respective departments at the fixed ops director level, that person may know. But a lot of times the parts managers just stocking inventory and filling stock orders and got his setups done. And the service department is just the one working with the customer. So that kind of tells a story why we've got to look at this in a holistic approach, but still maintain their silos because they really don't want to learn each other's businesses.
Yep. In many cases, exactly like you said. Carlos, let me come to you. Tell us a little bit about optimization, what you call the optimization bomb, if you will.
The optimization bomb. I mean, just going back to the discussion that we started on the black holes. We optimize data as the data comes across. And what we have found, a lot of surprises where somebody specs, probably the biggest one that happened to me, and it was a big number. There was a parts markup. It was 59%. The data showed 59%. And you can't mess with data. As Jim knows, the data is the data, and you're going to be mentioned with that data. We took that number 59 to 77%. We optimized. We got a really nice. We're super happy with ourselves. Then we go and talk to the head of fixed ops, who's a fairly large customer, and he looks at us and says, why would I want to file for 77 when I'm already getting 75? And we all went, well, the reason you think you're getting 75, you're at 59. And that is a big issue. That is a big issue. And that drives some of the new products we're working on is the ability to provide an AI agent to give to the operators, people working, the fixed ops director, the director parts, or just the parts manager. How am I doing? You're literally asking the data, how am I doing? And as near real time, so we can get data every week, we can tell you what's happening. We can tell you when things are not moving around. So you can correct way before you do the optimization. So optimizations are easy if the data is clean and everything is fine. And it's just a math problem. The ability to keep everything on the line and making sure we don't have surprises to us is huge because we want to be an agent of change. We want to help. This is not something that you can go and say, see, you screwed up. There's a problem here. That's a bad way to present the data. The present that every week you can go and say, how am I doing? Oh, you have Joe over here doing very well. They have this new employee over here doing something else. And look at this. You got so-and-so works at a Kia store. He works over here sometimes, and he's booking all the Chevy jobs as Kia. Now, that's a problem because you're mixing apples and oranges, but you want to get ahead. Before the Chevy guy said, what's going on here? When the financial statement looks all screwed up. So that is what we do. We use the data and the new technology and a friendly agent. Think of a ChatGPT bot that says, hey, how's it going? How am I doing? And it will come back with answers that they're They're not confrontational. They're basically giving you some feedback of how to improve. You should do this. Look at this. You're setting right. So it becomes a way to enable the people behind the counter to get better. Because I don't think they mean to do something stupid. It just happens.
We're here today with Aclaro.ai and Ted. This panel, lots and lots of experience, lots of great takeaways for our dealer audience today. Carlos, I want to come back again on the AI component, because Ted and I at the Fixed Ops Roundtable and across the industry, AI, it's no secret, this is the word probably of last year and this year. It's everywhere. We're hearing AI in all of these different components and facets of the dealership. But for our service and parts directors listening and our dealer leadership that's listening today, that can sound very daunting in this entire ecosystem. And I know, from the DMS and the CRM side of the equation, dealers are already, when they go and they run a report and you're trying to get one data set and you see 15 different options to run the same type of data and understanding those intricacies. And then Carlos, here you are describing, I'm going to have this conversation with my AI and I'm going to get that information that I'm seeking and it's going to be accurate. So help us, really walk us through what AI actually does in this environment and help us demystify it.
That's a great question, Sarah. The big thing here, guys, think of pieces of knowledge. So we take, you take the OEM manuals that say, hey, this is what we accept, we're going to accept. Then you look at the state rules. State you can do this and you do something else. So we basically have a way to read the intent of what is being done in the car and come up with a decision and say, yeah, that's a repair because of this. There's no magic to it. It's just we happen to have trained the system. Think of a very smart tech that says, hey, Junior, this is what should be called. It's maintenance. It's 30,000 miles. It reads what is supposed to have been happening. And then we start classifying it and say, does that violate the rules that the OEM has? And it's just all behind the scenes. And it says, okay, no, it doesn't. How does that look with the state? And again, we take the state statute and we convert it into a math model for our practical purposes. And we use it to balance things up. And we just, at the end, we ask the question, is this thing a repair or maintenance? And the reason why? And then you can say is defined because the statute says this, the OEM says something else, past practice has been like this. So it just helps the system to take all this knowledge. We take all this knowledge and we put it in a piece of software and we ask questions about it. So it's if you all have used ChatGPT and say, what's the best movie? It's kind of the same thing. It takes the knowledge and it makes it accessible. And the best thing, the thing that really excites me is, and I can see the whole idea of reports. Reports are daunting. They're just difficult to read. Yeah. Excel spreadsheet. You do a pivot and you just spend hours trying to understand. So how about if we just say, hey, how is Joe doing in this particular set of parts? Are tires killing me? You can ask that question. Are tires killing me? No, you're not, because you haven't the right source. So you should be fine. If today we're running an audit, for submission, what will my numbers look like? Boom, there they are. And you can say, how can I improve? Oh, you can do X, Y, and Z. And we're using facts. And the other thing is really exciting to me is that they're learning systems. And you'll see how we started here and we move a little higher and a little higher. We keep adding knowledge, building knowledge. When we see a hole that we don't know about it, we got to figure that out. If you really want to get into brass tacks, Florida has a very clear rules for maintenance and repairs. Illinois doesn't. So we see the discrepancy. So how do we fix the holes? How do we make it better so that we don't have a discussion with a manufacturer, an OEM that said we're doing something wrong? We have yet to be told, hey, you guys are completely missing stuff. And when we have an issue, we fix it. So it's all about capturing the knowledge and present the knowledge in a way that makes sense and not via a report. It's just a simple conversation.
Gentlemen, if I may, let's address some of the fears that are out there. And Jim Goldsmith, I'll come to you. First one I want to address, if you would. The OEM is going to come after us, Jim.
Yeah, that is actually a very real fear.
Yes,
by
it
the
is.
dealers.
Yeah. I'm not going to get my allocation. You know what's going to happen. So,
yeah, it's a real fear, but it's not. I always try to put them at ease because, just from my own experience, that's not the case. No one's looking to audit you for asking for your statutory right. And by and large, the OEMs do, I can't speak for all of them, obviously, but, they do want to make sure that everyone's compensated fairly. Having said that, the other part of it is it's sort of like doing your taxes. If you only do it once or twice a year, you're really not sure what you're doing, where the OEM is doing it every day. So they're afraid of making a mistake, and they're afraid of looking bad in front of their management. Sometimes the GM has to sign off, or the dealer principal, and they ask for a certain rate and it comes back with something different, and they have a little bit of egg on their face. So, those are all natural fears. But that's why that's the first thing we really try to address, is to calm people down and say, this is how it works, and this is what we can do to help you in that area.
Jim, you're so right. It's the dealer's right to be able to do that. It's governed by the statutes. The OEMs are professionals at doing this. Bill, the next fear, if I may come to you, I don't trust the data. What would you say to that?
That question is really a something that points more to, I don't trust how I am presenting the data. The data is the data, and the reporting that people are able to use are in two categories usually. Canned reports on the dealer management system, which for effective labor rate and parts markup percentage are very hard to use. And there's reporting that people create themselves. So the biggest problem that we see with users is they create reports and they are not doing the right filtering. They're not filtering everything.
Sure.
To give you an example, if you can take repairs that are employee discounts, they may not be using the right filter to filter employee discounts out. So that's why what we do is we have to practice, again, data hygiene, to normalize the data, standardize the data, so that the LLMs, large language models for the AI, can build a story from the data that is a true story, not based off of somebody's report that is wrong. And one of the biggest problems is in the reporting is a lot of people they can write a report on their dealer management system, but they download it to Excel. Now, once you put it in Excel, all bets are off, because you could have problems with your rows, your math, and nobody would ever know that by looking at it unless you saw that a formula was messed up. So that is a big problem we solve with our product.
Yep, and actually an easy one to be solved with their product as well. Victor, let me come back to you. Next fear. Victor, we've always done it this way.
You know what? I've heard that so many times as I moved and as I visited some of the dealerships. One assistant PM told me, I've been a system manager for 20 years. I says, well, maybe now you should look while you're still an assistant. This is a true story. This is a true story. A great guy, fantastic follower, but we need to think who set it up. Why was it set up? What was the market there? I mean, we're only as good as what we show, but we can't be as good as what it was last year, because everything is changing. So if we've done it this way, you know what? You'll probably be doing this 100 years wrong. So every now and then you got to kind of step back, use that data, like Bill said. You can download the stuff, but if you don't know what you're looking for, and in some of the DMSs, they don't necessarily give you all of the dictionary items. You have to pay to get those dictionary items, right, Bill? So that's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
If you're mature and experienced, good service manager or parts manager, you create situations that you go out of the box, you look at it from a different perspective, and then you see, why is this? Go back to the root cause analysis. You can't just do business the way you did last year. You're not going to make it the following year. And if you are, you're going to be losing a lot. And we've noticed that. You can't just go ahead and say, I'm going to double pop everything. Guess what? You'll do it once. You lost a customer. So you got to change from the way we've always done it, because the way we've always done it could be very wrong. And you're just practicing. What's the definition of insanity?
You're repeating that
Continue to
same
do
behavior.
the same thing. Yeah, and expect different changes, different happenings. It's not going to happen, guys. If you don't change it, it will be damaged going forward. That's why you have all these campaigns, all these updates to correct somebody's fluke.
That's right. That's right. You're so right. The next fear, my last one, Carlos, I'll come to you. AI. AI is going to take my job.
I don't believe that. I think AI is going to make your job easier. I mean, think about an audience. They're facing people. They're working with people. They're touching things. That's one thing. AI cannot replace the touch. Not replace what you do. It's just helping people. There are some fields where AI is going to cause some job losses. But in the field we're on, it just makes you smarter. It makes you, it helps you do some things better. So if you want to spend time around, screwing around, trying to optimize a submission, and we have seen many of those, you can't beat the machine, man. The machine is faster, it's better, knows more. And it's just like, remember the good old days of calculator. We did things by hand, and then the calculator came in, and the job didn't go away. It just made you better, and you're doing better things with it. So I don't believe it's going to lead to job losses in the customer we serve. I think there will be some impact to the consulting side, because you're starting to get the knowledge into a machine, and that is going to have some effect on the consulting side, and also effect of the cost of doing business. So it's an exciting. To me, it's exciting. It's the first phone call or the engine, and it went from the flying. It's just something new has happened. You got to embrace it and use it. That to me is the way to do it.
Sarah, here we are. We're a month in already to 2026. We're at the end of January. A lot happening in our industry. Nothing probably more timely than warranty. It's a huge chunk component of the dealership's revenue. And Aclaro.ai has really put together an amazing platform to help dealers take advantage of what they are entitled to, and to do that with all the benefits of technology. And the gentlemen who are on here are very seasoned at being able to help the dealer in various nuances in getting this done, and making sure that the dealer files for everything that they are entitled to.
Ted, this is so timely, as you said, for our industry and for our audience today. If you want to learn more, Aclaro.ai at the bottom of the screen. And gentlemen, any other takeaways for our audience? How can they learn more?
You can, send us an email to sales@aclaro.ai. Go to our website. Just give us a call, 1-800-2-ACLARO. So he's got the number out there. So just reach out, sales@aclaro.ai. One of us will get back to you really quickly, and we'd love to talk shop, guys. I mean, and one of the things that we really love saying, okay, give us your data. We'll tell you what we can do. I mean, you can just, if you don't believe what we can do, let me show you what we can do. And we have delivered some eye-popping numbers. I mean, our numbers are into six figures. We're surprised when they're only the low six figures. That's where we go, what are we doing wrong? And it has to do with a smaller dealer, but increases 20, 30, 40, 50, 70%. So we got a couple of stories where dealer goes, we got the best number on the whole zone. So they're our biggest fans. So they got the number, they're happy to tell their friends, and it works.
The biggest impact you're going to make this year, everybody, on your profitability in service and parts is with these gentlemen here at Aclaro.ai. Speak to them, reach out to them. I'd like to invite everybody on the panel back. We're going to be doing this again in a few months at the next Fixed Ops Roundtable. I want to find out a little bit more, maybe meet with some dealers who are doing this as well, and we'll talk about some of the success stories. And you're right, some of the numbers are eye-popping, especially once a dealer gets started. So Carlos, Howard, Bill, Victor, and Jim, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Everybody reach out to Aclaro.ai, and great honor to have you gentlemen here today on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. And
Thanks again.
Thank you.
been a pleasure.
The team from Aclaro here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
There are a lot of competitors out there. What we're looking for, though, is the total package.
CDK is a proven solution. The support is ongoing, the development is ongoing, and for us, there is no other solution.
I really believe they know our business, they know the automotive space, and more they continue to be able to help us use the system the way we want to do business.
That relationship is really what this is all about. You don't have a relationship with software, you have a relationship with the individuals behind the software. That's what we're really comfortable with CDK.
Find out what's really happening under the hood with the Skaivision panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have Skaivision with us, Ashleigh Norton, VP of Marketing, and Ryan Westling of Team Automotive Group. And Ted, exciting conversations ahead about how Skaivision has really made a difference with this business.
I'm looking forward to it, Sarah. Skaivision is definitely leaving a major mark on the industry. Ashleigh, welcome back. And Ryan Westling from Team Automotive Group in Ohio, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you both. Okay. So want to get a little color on all of this. First of all, Ryan, how did you first get introduced to Skaivision, and what made you open to testing it? I know you've got a couple franchises there in Steubenville, Ohio.
About a year and a half ago, I'm part of the TXM advisory board through Toyota, and Mark from Skaivision came in and did a presentation for us, which really impressed me, just for the fact that, you know, I am a TXM dealer, which is with the Toyota Express Maintenance, and the whole timing thing and everything to get people out from under an hour. And where my location, and I've got a little bit of separation of church and state when it comes to where I'm at, because my Toyota store, my actual drive's about 100 yards from my shop. So to get a car written up, walked around, everything properly, staged, and get through the shop, it was rough. We were running an hour 15, hour 20 minutes, you know, and it was hard to put your finger on exactly what was going on. And I was talking to another dealer that was working with this out of the SET region, and he was telling me all this success. So Toyota and TXM asked if anybody wanted to pilot this Skaivision, and my hand was right up. I'm like, me, I want it. And they came in and said, you know, it's a little process because you got to make sure your cameras are in place and everything. And I'm telling you, it's an unbelievable thing how you can sit in your office and figure out what your bottlenecks are with this software. You know, it has so many different capabilities to do it. And so I was on board with it. I was like, I'm going to get these guys under an hour. So it was, I'm glad I stepped up for that.
Yeah. And what Ryan's describing there is kind of where we see the gains, is just small operational tweaks where they might be process gaps, or most stores don't lack a process, they just lack visibility. So it can be hard to identify without actually being able to see that flow consistently.
It's so true, Ashleigh. And Ryan, the TXM program with Toyota, I mean, it's really, you know, again, customers have the expectations. They want to get their service and their vehicle in and out as quickly as possible, especially when it comes to their maintenance. So for those that may not be as familiar with it, can you explain what the TXM program is and what it takes for a store to meet the standard?
The TXM program, Toyota really dove into it when they came up with this program. And it's a two-man express team. And each guy has his certain jobs. And it's a script. It's almost like a dance whenever they pull the car into the lane. And they have to sit back. You know, you have an A tech and a B tech. And, you know, one guy's racking the cars. One guy's under the hood checking the fluids and checking the battery. One guy's checking the cabin filters. You know, one guy's rotating the tires. And it's just an unbelievable program to have. When it comes down to it, I'll just give you some quick numbers. As I said, before I got on it, you know, on the advisory board and everything, you know, we were an hour and 20 minutes for an oil change rotate and a multi-point. You know, I can get a dry car out, what is just, you know, because Toyota does theirs every 10,000 miles, with a rotate and a full multi-point inspection under 20 minutes. I can do a wet, you know, where we're doing the oil change and everything with it. I can have it on and off the rack in 20 minutes now with a full inspection.
Wow.
So, but with Skaivision helped me realize all my other bottlenecks with the situation. But they have coaches that come in and work with your technicians. You know, I have 2 times a year, I have actual coaches from Toyota come in. They work with my technicians that train them, because, you know, you're always getting new guys. This, you know, we've been in this business a while, so we know there's a little bit of a rotation in the door when it comes to employees, especially in that express area. But they train your technicians to do that dance to make sure that everything's done and nothing's forgotten, which is crazy because one tech knows what the other tech's doing and they're calling things out. I got the tires done, they're mounted, the inspection's done, they're calling measurements out. It's an unbelievable program.
Ashleigh, this really sounds to me, I'm just visualizing what Ryan is describing. And again, those bottlenecks. I mean, this sounds like the operational efficiency that a pit crew at NASCAR is working through to get, every single minute matters. And Ted, it's all about the hours, as Tully Williams says. So Ashleigh, this is incredible. How did Skaivision first get partnered with the TXM program?
So TXM heard about us through a couple of stores, or Toyota heard about us through a couple of stores that had been putting it in place. And they already have the standard, right? TXM is defining the standard of excellence. And Skaivision is helping them deliver it consistently.
Well, I'm curious, Ryan, when you look at your service lane on a typical day, a weekday like today, where do you see the biggest opportunities to improve speed and even more important, I guess, consistency as well?
Honestly, a few things that we know, just to give it a head back to where we were bottlenecking in our system, with the lane which you're talking about, I realized I was short-staffed, and I realized that my advisors couldn't meet the expectations that I was giving them because they were overwhelmed. So the first thing that, we fixed, because we have cameras in the lane, and it monitors them and it does a time for me. So if I say, I want a customer to be greeted within 2 minutes, if it's not 2 minutes being greeted, I get an alert on the system. Or if I have an advisor that doesn't do a walk around on the car, I get an alert. So the biggest thing that you can see is if you're overstaffed or staffed when it comes up there. I was understaffed. Once I started using that fixed my first bottleneck. And that's something I couldn't see until I was watching it. And the timers that Skaivision gives us was letting me know, hey, Ryan, you've got 10 cars that the customer didn't get greeted until 4 minutes. I'd walk up, talk to my advisor. They'd say, go back to the cameras and watch what we were doing. Okay. So we had an additional advisor in the mix. And guess what? We were under my 2 minute mark.
I've always said the advisor role is one of the hardest in the dealership, and not being able to deliver on the expectations is typically not even their fault. It's just that the expectations are there. We do a little bit of math. We decide how we're going to staff, and then we expect it to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true, Ashleigh. And Ryan, in thinking about your operation, Toyota has exceptional training programs and opportunities for learning when it comes to their service managers and their service directors. But, there's elements of this that I think it sounds like bringing Skaivision into the mix, it changed how you manage the lane day to day.
Yeah, it gave me a key. It gave me an actual key to key time. So what happens, is a customer is pulling down the ramp, it pulls like the license plate and it starts the clock right there off of my DMS system through the VIN number. So I can tell that, Mrs. Smith is coming down the ramp at 8:15, and I know that I need to get Mrs. Smith out of there before 9:15 to be under my hour.
Wow.
So it monitors step by step the process that, every place is different. So everybody's going to have different standards to put in place. And if you track your standards, you don't want to take too big of a bite, but you fix it as you go. Like the first thing we fixed was our lane.
And Ashleigh, it sounds like, for this kind of insight that Ryan's been able to gain from Skaivision, it sounds like it's very customizable to a variety of different processes and OEMs.
Well, it has to be, right? Because no two stores are alike. I was in one dealership just this last week that they have 4 different shops that have just grown because they were an old Saturn store, and they've built another shop. They built another shop. They built another shop, and they have one entry point. So it has to be customizable for every store. What we do is come out, we do a site walk, see what cameras are there, what cameras are needed, and get the technical stuff all set up correctly so that we are measuring real data and we're measuring it in real time every single day. And then when Ryan was talking about Mrs. Smith, not only are we tracking to make sure we get Mrs. Smith out of there, but we're also sending her a text to let her know, hey, do you want to trade or sell your vehicle? Here, would you like an offer? And so we started doing that about 18 months ago, and that's really taken off as well.
That's key too. I do have to say with that, so everybody knows how hard it is to buy used cars now. What's the best used cars to buy? The ones you service. So if you throw that customer an offer out, the advisor don't even know they're getting the offer. They're getting a text message. Hey, Mrs. Smith, your 2021 Corolla's in high demand. We'll offer you top dollar cash today for it. If you would like to hear our offer, just hit yes. We'll have somebody meet you in the lounge.
Oh, wow.
So I think last month, we ended up getting 8 cars through the lane just out of my Toyota store.
Wow.
How much did that save us? One, going to the auction, not knowing what we're getting. 2, we're buying 8 cars that we just had through our shop.
I think
and how many of those were traded for another car?
Yeah.
And Ryan, I wanted you to share your story about last Friday and the number of hours you were able to run through a 2-team shop.
Oh, us fixed operations managers, service managers or directors, whoever, the one thing that we always key on is unapplied time, and that thing we always go back and forth with the manufacturers on that stuff there. We've got it so fine-tuned in here. And as I said, we've got a huge separation. I've got a 100-yard drive that I've got to have a driver drive the car down, stage the car before it goes to get in the express lane before my guys can pull it in. My 2-man team last Friday, did 22 hours, flat rate hours in one day. Just by following the process, it was like all the planets aligned. It was like the best. I was so excited because I run reports every day. And when I pulled up their times and my dispatcher kept telling me, he goes, you're going to be so proud of them. He goes, all 3 teams killed it. He said, but the one really killed it. And when I pulled those times, I was just ear to ear.
Don't tell them they're good enough to be on a pit crew. You'll lose them.
No, I don't ever want to tell them that. I did buy them lunch though. So
Ryan, give us some color also. How many techs in your shop? Tell us about.
I've got a combined shop right now. I've got 9 Toyota technicians right now. Okay. I've got 2 2-man teams on the Toyota side. I've got 2 2-man teams on the Ford side. So we share a shop, but I've got 29 bays total throughout my dealership. So on my Ford side, we've got 20. I mean, we're running very tight when it comes to bay space. So to get these cars in and off the racks, it's ideal. It's actually given me the opportunity, and I know this is going to be a big forbidden thing that the guys don't want to hear, is I push anything that comes through the shop through my express lanes that have an oil change. So if I've got an oil change rotate and a check engine light, they actually go through my express lanes before they hit the shop. Wow. Because my guys are so confident in the process that these guys are going that they know they're going to give them a good multi-point, which in turn, if you're a flat rate technician and you don't want to do the oil change rotate, but you want to do that brake job or that ball joint on that tie rod end that comes over. And I couldn't have done this without Skaivision, just to be honest with you. I couldn't have grown the shop and ran it so tight without them because they're showing me my bottlenecks.
Wow. You're seeing a big impact. And just the stories and the feedback you're giving us right now is amazing. Also, I would imagine in the metrics that TXM is tracking and overall lane performance, you're seeing a big uptick.
Overall lane performance, I think their standards at like 75% under an hour when it comes to it. We're at 88%. So we're at like the top when it comes to it. We're not 100% perfect. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be 100% perfect, but 88, I'll take it, when it comes to it.
It's incredible stuff, Ryan, to hear just the success stories that you're having. And Ashleigh, I mean, this is incredible stuff with Skaivision. Ryan, in just kind of our final moments, for other dealers working towards excellence in express and service operations, what would you tell them about what it actually takes to hit these standards consistently?
Honestly, just paying attention. If you pay attention to this, and don't get wrong, if you do get on Skaivision, that first month, you're going to get a lot of alerts because, you've got your staging area alerts, you've got your lane alerts, but as I said, if you start taking one at a time, because my phone was going off, I think the first day I ended up getting 105 alerts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I took the biggest one, which my lane fixed it. Second biggest one, which my techs really love, is I put a camera in my parts department, which oversees the tech counter. So if I have a technician there for 5 minutes, it's alerting me, the parts manager, and the dispatcher, hey, and they know I'm gonna run back there and be like, hey, what are we doing? This isn't the water cooler. Why need your hands on the car? And the guy sort of chuckled and stuff at first, but I'm telling you, I may have had one alert today. Wow. It's taken us a little bit of time, but if you truly just take off little bites here and there, fix your lane, fix your staging area, fix those things at first, and then work with your technicians, how to do the proper inspections in the 2-man teams, making sure your parts are available. We went through the whole fact where all my fast moving parts are right inside my parts department. They only have to wait on a parts guy to get them. As soon as they see them pull them, they're billing them right off the bat. They only have to go. So, but it's something where you have to have a little bit of patience. But if you give this system a little bit of patience, I'm telling you, your business will grow tenfold.
Ashleigh, it sounds like process and execution, along with Skaivision, being that eye in the sky, really is the secret to success here.
Yep, exactly. You and I have spent years on process and execution in the automotive industry. So I think camera vision AI is just it's the next thing.
Ryan, fascinating information. Okay. And it's great how this technology is helping us because it's putting literally eyes on the entire process, and you get to see things from your office. Okay. What's happening out there and address those bottlenecks. So congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you, as the year goes on.
Listen, I love it. And the greatest thing about it is when how they always say when dad's out, the kids will play. Well, dad's got his phone. And the alerts go to my phone. So if I'm in a meeting, I've been on the text going, why do we have a car stage for 15 minutes?
I love it. Cool. I love it. Sarah, great stuff.
An amazing panel with Ryan Westling and Ashleigh Norton. Ashleigh, for our audience today, if they want to learn more about what Skaivision can do for them, what's the best first step?
You can go to skaivision.com. You can book a demo right from there. You can email me directly or call the sales line or call my cell phone. It's on my LinkedIn. You can reach me anywhere.
All right. Great news. Ryan Westling, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Ashleigh, thank you for bringing Ryan on the show and telling us the great strides that Skaivision is making out in the real world, right? So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More information, everybody. You can reach out to Ashleigh and her team at Skaivision. You can see the URL at the bottom, skaivision.com. Ashleigh's email is at the bottom of the screen. They're very responsive and they'll answer questions. Many dealers will have questions that how this apply to their facility. And Ashleigh, great information. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody, Ryan Westling and Ashleigh Norton, Skaivision, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Skaivision is a smart space application that modernizes employee and customer experience by turning a dealership camera network into a team of assistants. Powered by computer vision AI, the application assists 24/7, requiring no data input nor software tasks. How? Step 1. Plug the Skybox server securely into your camera network and turn on certified integrations with your DMS and other systems. Step 2. Use one entry camera to capture vehicles as they pull into the property or service lane. The first use case is a powerful enhancement to service vehicle acquisition using a simple camera-to-text process as follows. Set your target vehicle filters and choose your custom pricing strategy by model. Sky sends a legally compliant text opt-in to the customer. No human action required. Customers who reply yes receive your pricing range with a query as to whether they would be more likely to trade or sell the vehicle. Your team is alerted only when an on-site hand raiser wants to see options. The app has a customizable AI workflow to assist the conversation until a team member takes over. 100% of your service customers are engaged via the communication method most preferred, text, at the time most preferred, when they are on site. On average, stores realize an over 10% lift in acquisitions with simple insight into each group of customers. Engaged, awaiting information, ghosted, and transacted. Step 3. Map your express service flow with camera placements at entry, lane, staging, rack, wash, and delivery. The result is a fast, simple read on your best and worst cycle times, along with what is consistently happening to produce each. The same arrival camera that triggers the acquisition offer for sales also alerts the advisor or the service team, taking the customer experience to a new level, greeting guests by name. An acceptable time to greet can be set, which alerts if a visit is getting off on the wrong foot. Setting target times for each process step enables proactive mobile notifications to the right team members. Time on rack footage is broken down, evaluating stall activity at a glance, with configurable alerts if a tech is waiting too long for a vehicle to service or a vehicle is waiting too long for its tech. Since the system knows if a tech is present, a vehicle, both or neither, actionable adjustments emerge to optimize capacity. Transparent visual reassurance can be communicated to the customer at key points in the repair visit. Your best performances are relayed to the whole community via automatic Google reviews sent only when your team performs at their best to produce a lift in positive views. Step 4. Lean into any efficiency opportunity as they vary based on dealership layout, staffing, and process. Some examples that have produced a positive return on camera placement include ungreeted customers in facility blind spots, EV charging station efficiency, security and safety events, vehicles that remain stationary too long, customers waiting too long for assistance, along with 23 gesture recognitions that can be mapped to keyboard strokes. Because time is money and time drives retention, the Skaivision app produces a pep-in-the-step focus that promotes a reduction in unacceptable outcomes and lost customers. Once you see the benefits of a proactive smart camera approach, you will never go back to a reactive approach to your camera investment. Skaivision.
Get ready to hear the story behind the Rohrman Automotive Group.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we are with the Rohrman Automotive Group here at Schaumburg Kia. And Ted, exciting conversations about the history of Rohrman Automotive Group and the future with what's ahead.
That's right. And who better than Ryan Rohrman here could be help tell us about that. Also, Ricky Perez is here with us, General Manager at Schaumburg Kia, and Nick Ruffolo, Fixed Operations as well. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thanks. Sarah, first question I had is for Ryan. Brian, Rohrman Automotive Group has a strong legacy in this industry. What principles established early on still guide the organization?
Yeah, so, my grandfather started out in 1963, and then he franchised with Toyota in 1968. So the Rohrman Automotive Group were into that 60-year plus legacy, right? And so that makes me a third-gen car guy. And so much of who we are, it's really based on the foundation that my grandfather laid for us. And I got the privilege of working alongside of him in this market for about 15 years. And I still remember, so I shared earlier that this was the first, so I have a lot of weird car experience, but selling new cars, 2005, here at 750 East Off Road, the new Schaumburg Kia, but it was Schaumburg Honda back then. And I was living with my grandfather at the time, and I was nervous. You know, I was 21, and I had never sold new cars before. And I think you could tell, but my grandfather was not a handout guy. He was, school, you guys laughed, school of hard knocks, one of 11, he was one of 11 kids. Oh, wow. His dad passed away when he was young. So this interesting story there, right? So he looked at me when I was coming to Schaumburg Honda, my first day selling cars, and he goes, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You don't need to be." And I said, Easy to say when you're Bob roaring, right? And he goes, because I always thought like, hey, my grandfather's going to teach me like the tricks, right? And how to sell cars. And I realized there is no tricks. He looked at me and he goes, if you fall in love with a customer, we'll buy a car for. And that's how I walked out of his house that morning, thinking to myself, that's terrible. That's not what I was looking for. That's not what I was looking for.
But it's not what I was looking for.
So that's not at the time I was like, what does that even mean? But I found out, and that's still true to this day. Of course, like if you love our customers, they're going to love doing business with us. And then from my position today, I think, and you guys as well, if you love your employees, it's going to make it easier for them to love their customers. And it's this big ecosystem of, when it's you before me, things work out a lot better, and I don't know. I think that is one of the things that he taught me amongst many things. The other thing that he taught me, and we still do this today, is we never ask anyone to do anything that we're not willing to do ourselves. I think that's huge inside of this industry. Like, I know that Ricky knows how to use every tool that we have at this dealership because we train and we preach on it. I know that Nick knows how to use everything inside of fixed ops and I also hold myself accountable to the same thing. He might be better at it, but I can log in and use every tool that we have, because at the end of the day, I just think it's a miss. And my grandfather was the same way. If we say, I expect you to do this, and if not that anyone ever asked this question, but like, well, can you do it? I think you should be able to stand tall and proud and be like, absolutely, heck yeah. Why aren't you doing?
Nick, I've also learned from the short time of Ryan that if we need somebody with fixed operations experience in the shop, that we've got just the man to have.
Oh, yeah. I have 100% confidence. I could go change oil in a heartbeat. Yes. I've done hundreds of oil changers. So yeah.
Well, and Ricky, you've seen all of this evolution.
Yes.
From the early
years. We were also chief or founder was the first Kia Steubenville lot.
That's right.
So it was also involved with the brand, overall staying. Yeah. Just really nice.
I mean, that was one thing about my grandfather, that's a good point. Like, he was very innovative. Like, we have 3 Kia dealerships, 2 in Indiana and 1 here. And almost all of our dealer numbers are 0, 0, 1, 6, and 9, I believe what they are. Meaning we were the first Kia dealer in the state of Illinois, and I was number 6. Well, I should say my grandfather's number 6, number 9 in the state of Indiana. And that means something because he took a risk. Kia today is worth a lot. Kia in the 90s, not so much. Well, what does that even mean? Like, think of the other brands, like Daewoo was right there too. So like, we had Daewoo, Suzuki. We had Suzuki, we had Isuzu, and Saturn. Yes, all those things. I mean, at one time we had over 40 stores, and like some of those went away. So they don't always work out. But he was always innovating and willing to take that risk. And when it works out, it looks like this. Like 30 plus years later, you get to build one of the largest Kia dealerships in the country. And, we could have made it bigger. And we would have, it doesn't mean we sell more cars, but we can hold more people, right? And that's what we want to do. But it's not necessary. but the brand deserves it because of where it's come. But it all took that risk, that innovative mindset of, and we still do it today. Whether it's, how do we incorporate artificial intelligence into service and into parts and into sales, into accounting practices? What's too far, right? Like, what does it look like for our employees to come alongside and work with innovation? So he established that, and then I always like to say that my grandfather, he built a really solid foundation for us to then come, like if we built this house on a bad foundation, it's gone, right? But he didn't. He gave it to us. And so that leads us forward into today. Yeah.
It's an incredible story, Ryan. And, as the next chapter of Rohrman Automotive Group unfolds, and as you look ahead, I'd love to get your perspective and then Nick and Ricky's as well. What excites you most about what's coming next for Rohrman Automotive Group?
Oh, man. What excites me next about the Rohrman Automotive Group? I think it's growing people. Honestly, it's, we know we can do more, but we have. I think a lot of dealers, like, the top 150 just came out like 3 days ago. We moved up 10 spots from last year. So we hit number 50 this year on the list. And we did that while actually we gave away an Infinity store back to the manufacturer and a Genesis store back to manufacturer. So we actually shrunk our footprint and grew 10 spots. And that's a people thing. There's a lot of folks that grew on that list. Not all, they'll lie. They grew because they added franchises. And that's great. But more is not always more. It's more of something, but it's not maybe always more of what you want. And so I think that as we grow, like even this store, like Ricky has the vision, right, Ricky, to be the number one Kia store in the Midwest. And you know what? You can do it. And that's the goal. I mean, that's the goal. Like, we have a big Honda store right down the riff. We want to be number one, and Chicago is a great market. You can actually deep, and so it's people and process drives everything forward, so I'm excited about that. Like, will we grow with franchises? Sure. I mean, like, we're always looking, to grow and expand, but more importantly, it's people. Because if you just buy another store and you don't have people to grow into it, it's just more headaches, not dollars, but also. Ricky, your thoughts?
I honestly believe that Chamber Kia is going to become the number one Kia story, hopefully in the land. The land. We were kind of on our way there for COVID. We had kind of stabilized things. Then we went into construction, so we haven't seen our seat. We've been in here since January 15th, every month. We want more and more fixed ops. That's already the leaders in the Midwest. And set an all-time record last fall. We don't know what to see. So it's just that's exciting, Chris. The fun part, future is incredibly bright.
And I'm almost afraid to ask you what excites you most.
Inside the car business. In all honesty, I mean, from when my role changed in the rebranding and the restructure of our organization, we've made so many headways in the fixed operations part, from the stores all hitting CSI, the growth of our hours per row, the effectiveness of our labor rate, and holding more gross. And that's all great stuff. Yeah. But we got to this level, and I think we just finally got, I would call that at ground zero almost now, because we are performing at a level higher than most. My mind is like, okay, what's next? And I think it's just growing to that next level, and our team that surrounds us, that houses us to get to that level, sharing their time with the Rohrman Group and bringing their people in to buy cars or service, or even coming here to work too. So kind of growth almost like osmosis. So I don't know if I could put it that way, but I think so. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We've learned a lot. Sarah, it was very enjoyable.
It's incredible to be here, to hear the history and then look ahead at the future, Ted.
Sarah, Ventine, and I are here. We will be right back.
The business model of Automotive Warranty Network has always been to provide the very best service we can to automotive dealerships. We believe very much in partnerships, so we partner with dealerships to help them process their warranty repair orders the best they can, but also stay compliant with a manufacturer policy and procedure.
Dealerships, some of them don't understand the importance of the supporting documentation. The repairs are performed, manufacturer is going to come in and audit them. That supporting documentation needs to stand up in an audit. If not, those monies will be charged back to the dealership. So, important thing that our team provides the dealerships is the information where the supporting documentation does not support the repairs performed, where they could lose those monies in an audit.
Audits are not scary. Audits are actually fantastic learning experiences. I am a big proponent for audits. I am not perfect. I do not think anybody is perfect. AI isn't even perfect. It is such a learning experience, and manufacturers are looking for things differently every year, and it keeps us on our toes. Then I know that I could take that information that I gather and provide it to my other dealerships and say, hey, we need to stay on top of these things.
We offer full warranty administration services from beginning to end, from reviewing technician comments and punch times, looking up and applying labor operations and times in the DMS, and transmitting to the manufacturer for payment. We then follow up on claims daily and account for any differences in payment.
SWAT stands for Specialized Warranty Assistance Team. We provide coverage for admins who could be taking vacation, if there's family medical leave, bereavement, sick time. So we provide coverage so that there's no hiccup between the admin being out and the dealer having their work processed.
We developed an application called CARS, which stands for Claim Accountability and Reporting System, which is a reporting tool that we use to help dealerships improve in their processes. So it's a tool that we use to identify how frequently compliance issues are happening in a dealership. And we can tell dealerships how frequently those problems are happening, which of their staff members is happening with. And then we also offer training to help educate those particular staff members on the types of issues that they're having and help them improve.
I think the biggest thing I love about this company is the owners. David and Jamie, they care about us. They encourage us to do training. They encourage us to make sure that we're master certified in our car lines.
When I started with AWN, we had 30 employees and about 167 clients. Currently, year to date, we're at 1,500 clients and 340 employees and growing. It's pretty amazing. The people that are with us, our clients, we love them. It's a pretty amazing place to be right now.
Straight from the front lines of the service lane is the CDK 2026 Service Advisor Report. And here to break it down is Kim Saylor.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have CDK Global with us and a familiar face with the roundtable, Kim Saylor. And Ted, exciting news and more to come with the Service Advisor Study.
Sarah, you're so right. Kim Saylor, Senior Director of Product Marketing at CDK. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Kim.
Thanks for having me, Ted and Sarah. Good to see you.
Great to see you. And I know you have some amazing insights to share with our audience today. And Sarah and I got a chance to see some of the reveals that you'll be making. And Sarah, it's very timely.
It is, Ted. And Kim, to jump right in, CDK had some interesting new data around fixed ops, and especially the Service Advisor Report. Would love to talk to you a little bit more about that and what stood out to you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. So we know that the advisor is the face of the dealership, the customer's window into the service department in a lot of cases. And so what really stood out is how consistently positive customers feel about their service advisor. So nearly 9 out of 10 said that advisors communicate clearly. They explained what was needed and they treated the customers with respect. And so that is huge because when those things don't happen, we saw NPS drop by roughly 40 points. So that advisor experience really makes or breaks how that customer feels about the dealership. And if you remember last time I talked about the service shopper study, and the number one reason customers return for service to the dealership rather than going someplace else was because of the relationship that they have with that dealership. And that relationship really is being built and reinforced in the service department, in particular by the service advisor.
Kim, you mentioned the relationship. I see that 4 out of 5 customers were greeted at their vehicle. Does that really matter that much?
It actually matters a lot more than people might think. So when customers are greeted at their car and they don't have to go when they're not greeted, and then they have to go find that service advisor, NPS drops by more than 30 points. So it actually goes from a positive to a negative. And that first impression really sets the tone for that entire dealer visit. And so being greeted right away, it signals a respect for that customer's time. It reduces the uncertainty and immediately starts building that trust with the advisor and with the dealership. And so when that moment gets missed, when the advisor doesn't greet the customer at their car, the customers can feel overlooked or even frustrated before the service even begins. And so it's really hard to recover from that over the course of that service visit.
And Kim, I'm imagining, this greeting, this start to the process, that really instills that trust that the customer has with their service advisor. And as you mentioned, that positive association with the dealership and their service advisor. I also thought it was really interesting that nearly 60% of service customers bought recommended services. And I do feel like maybe there's no coincidence there when service advisors are that positively perceived by their customers. But why do you think that is?
I mean, it really comes down to, or back to trust. It comes back to communication. It comes back to being kept in the loop. So when customer receives, for example, automatic notifications along the way, they feel informed about what's happening with their vehicle, and it starts building that trust even before any recommendation is given to the customer. And so then when the advisors use a tool like the technician video, for example, to help visually explain that work, it removes any of that uncertainty and doubt. And, we all know that the video is huge, and seeing the issue firsthand for the customer makes them more comfortable and makes it easier for them to say yes to that additional work. But it also reinforces both the advisor's role as a trusted advisor. It also reinforces the technician's role as the expert on their vehicle. And that actually goes back again to that service shopper study. The number 2 reason that customers chose to take their car to a dealership was because of the staff knowledge. And so this just helps, continue to reinforce that to the customer.
This is all good news, Kim. Also, we see that service advisors are improving at quoting accurate time estimates. Why is that important?
Well, time's important to all of us, and time is really one of the biggest drivers in satisfaction and service. So the study showed that 62% of the time that the vehicle was serviced and delivered when promised. So it's not perfect, but it is trending up. So the progress is important because that accurate promise time really, again, shapes how that customer feels about the visit. So when advisors are up front and when they keep that customer informed, it's just one more thing to help build trust. And, again, technology helps to make that possible by giving advisors better insight into what's happening in the shop. It allows the customers to stay updated, if anything changes with that initial promise time. So it's all about delivering on the promise that the advisor's making to the customer.
And Kim, this study is really, really unpacking also some of the generational components with what's driving some of this retention and this positive influence that service advisors are having with their customers. Yeah. One stat that really surprised people was that 94% of Gen Z service at the dealership that they bought from. What's driving that level of retention?
Well, for a lot of the Gen Zs, this vehicle purchase is their first big purchase, right? So there's a strong desire for them to protect that investment. They're still early in their ownership, and they want to be confident in that, basically, that they're doing the right thing. And so the dealer service department feels like the safe, the most trustworthy option to them. And it's familiar because it's tied to the place where they bought their car. So it gives them that peace of mind that their vehicle, this big new investment, is being taken care of properly.
And Kim, that service advisor role is so critical. They talk to so many customers on a daily basis. And you mentioned the word trust now several times. I
Yes.
see also that 92% say they plan to return to the dealership for service. Customers, that is. Is that higher than other generations?
Well, and specifically, the 92% is the Gen Z. So, yes, that's definitely higher than other generations. Millennials were close, but the Gen X and the boomers were notably lower. They were at about 75%. And so, what makes Gen Z so interesting is that their loyalty, it's already strong to the dealership. Even though they're new to this vehicle ownership, it gives the dealers a real opportunity to build that long-term relationship, because if you earn their trust early through service, they're a lot more likely to stick, with you over time. And it's a group that dealers really should not overlook, because this is the future of your business, right? So that the Gen Zs are the future.
Well, and Kim, Gen Z and millennials, these generations are encompassing an even greater volume of the business and the book of business that dealerships are retaining. Another piece that was really interesting was that Gen Z is also most likely to complete recall work and add additional services during their visit. Are they just prone to spending more, or is there more to the equation with why we're seeing this happening?
Well, they are spending more, but it's not because they're carefree with their money or anything like that. In fact, many Gen Z said that financial concerns sometimes kept them from getting that recall work done. But when they do approve additional services, it's usually because they trust that advisor. They understand the value of the work being done. However, many of the ones that did not bring their car in for that recall work, it was because they were afraid that it was going to cost them money. So I do think there's a big opportunity for dealers to help educate their new buyers, the young shoppers in particular, that they are not going to have to pay for that recall. So whether they do that, at the time of purchase, or it's part of, the service experience, it's a big opportunity, to help educate that, that group, that generation, the younger generation. And, and again, that's just one more way to build that relationship with them, to keep them coming back to the dealership.
We're speaking today to Kim Saylor at CDK Global about the recent service advisor study. Kim, if there's one takeaway that dealers, including those watching, should take away from the study, what would that be?
Well, the biggest takeaway is just how great the advisors are doing, and how the customers, the consumers, are viewing them very positively. But I would also say that an additional takeaway is the powerful combination of both the advisor and the technology that's in service today. Trust, of course, still starts with the advisor, but tools can help those advisors set better expectations, help keep the customer in the loop, help them explain recommendations more clearly. And when that does happen, the experience to the consumer, it feels easier, it's more transparent, and more trustworthy. I've said that word 10 times since we've been talking. And that really is what helps keeping those customers coming back. So it's the advisors, and then you help the advisors with additional tools to help them give that customer a better experience.
Sarah, years ago, we didn't have all this technology. We always knew it was about the people and the relationship. But now, like Kim said, a lot of that technology is helping the advisor to spend more time with the customer, as we've heard, at the car, greeting them there, and being able to do their job better.
It's so true, Ted. And all of these efficiencies are being achieved. And it really just helps, again, bridge that communication with the customer and offer that transparency. Kim, I'm curious, for our audience that's listening today, how do we get access to this study? How do we go and read the full takeaways that you've prepared? And what other solutions, where should they go to learn more?
Well, so for sure, go to cdkglobal.com. They can actually find the study and to learn more, but I will also share it with you to send out to the group as well.
All right. So what we'll do is for the audience that's watching this now on the roundtable, if you check your email, we have an email coming out to you right now with that study that you can download and take a look at that. And Kim Saylor, thank you as always. Great insights, refreshing to hear most, if not all of these. So great news.
It's very positive news. It's all great.
All right. Everybody, CDK Global, leader in the industry. Kim Saylor, Senior Director of Product Marketing, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks.
There are a lot of competitors out there. What we're looking for, though, is the total package.
CDK is a proven solution. The support is ongoing, the development is ongoing, and for us, there is no other solution.
I really believe they know our business, they know the automotive space, and more, they continue to be able to help us use the system the way we want to do business.
That relationship is really what this is all about. You don't have a relationship with software, you have a relationship with the individuals behind the software. That's what we're really comfortable with CDK.
98% of customer experience is how well or how poorly you communicate. Well, how come my software partners spend 98% of their development on workflows? What if they spent 100% of their time on workflows and we spent 100% of our time on communication? Then we'd be able to truly create transformative experiences for customers, and that's what True Video does.
It's kind of a mix between a sense of pride and solving a problem.
When you are taking on a multi-million-dollar investment, you have one opportunity to do this right.
When the Jim Ellis team came to us, and when really any of our clients come to us, they say, hey, here's this box that this brilliant architect put together, and we need you to help us come up with the best flow put, the best throughput, and really the best design to help us maximize our efficiency in our service department. So when you walk into a finished project like this and you see your design and your layout, the equipment that the team put in, it's a really cool feeling.
Pride. It's just incredible that our small little company can accomplish something this grand, and we do it day in and day out.
Back in the Bay and back in business. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Week event.
The Tom Wood Automotive Group is all about growing leaders and developing teams. Let's learn how they do it.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Tom Wood Automotive Group with us. And Ted, we're going to be talking a lot about career path and mentorship on this panel.
Sarah, you're so right. We're very honored to have the Tom Wood Automotive Group here with us. Great colleague of ours, great friend, Bill Demaree is with us. Bill, I understand we're going to talk a little bit today with your people about career path and mentorship. You got some key people. If you don't mind, welcome and help us introduce them to the audience.
Yeah, Ted, thanks for having me. Sarah, good to see you as always. And I am super excited to have like some superstars for the Tom Wood Group. And above me is Aaron Blount. Aaron comes live from the Tom Wood University which is an operation we started just over a year ago, growing lots of technicians and soon to be service advisors through that program, through a high school program that we offer. And then over to the left, Skyler. Skyler comes to us from our Porsche store. He's also a mentor to Katie Marks, which is below him. Katie Marks is our service manager at our Nissan store, just doing a super job down there. And over to the right of her is Alexis. Alexis is running our big Lexus store and just doing a super job out there. So dynamic group from our team here today.
All right. And of course, Bill is Vice President, Corporate Vice President of Fixed Operations at Tom Wood. And probably no one better to ask the first question than Stephen Hackbarath from Northwood University, our well-known intern. Stephen, I'll let you get things started today.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all so much for having me today. It's an honor to get to speak with all of you and learn from such amazing people in the industry. And, you know, we wanted to talk about a growth culture, because that's something that I know is really important at Tom Wood. And a lot of people talk about building a culture and career development, but we wanted to know, how do you create a culture where career development isn't just talked about, but is also actively built in day to day, and what those processes look like? So we'll start with you, Bill, and I would like to get Aaron's opinion on this too.
That is a great question. And I think it's a duty to all of us that have been in this industry for so many years, is to reach your hand out and find somebody that's as passionate about this business as you are, and offer that knowledge, that coaching, that advice, the good times, the bad times, and just roll your sleeves up, dig in next to them, and kind of help them survive and help them achieve and find out what's really important to them, and really invest in training and coaching and mentorship. We do a pretty good job across our organization. We invest heavily in NCM. We send 4 to 5 plane loads of leaders over to Kansas City for effective leadership. We host twice a year a great boss workshop through EOS platform to help our leaders just continue to grow and get better in how they lead a team. So we really, really invest a lot in our training platforms to help the next generation, right, to get better. We're not going to be in this, forever. And one of our core values is sincere desire to help others. So we have to have that in us, and we have to allow that to kind of flow through us to help the next generation. So we're pretty excited to do that at the Tom Wood Group.
Yeah, I think setting clear expectations of the field and our culture here at Tom Wood is paramount to what we're doing. And the investment Tom Wood's put into not just my program, but all of the training I see is incredible.
Okay. Well, and Skyler, you're very involved as well. Any comments you want to make on that as well?
Yeah, no, everything Bill said, I've lived through that. Kind of my story started out as a lot porter at our JLRV store. Just came back from school. Wasn't sure what I was going to kind of do with my life a little bit. Lucky enough to get in the Tom Wood Group. Started out as a porter there. One day I was changing a license plate on one of the fixed ops director at the time there. Forget his name. Bill Demaree. He was at that store and asked me kind of what I wanted to do with my career. Wasn't sure. He introduced me to the fixed operations side. I was able to grow within Tom Wood, came up through the parts department, parts delivery driver, kind of saw every aspect coming up from that side. Had a lot of mentors along the way. And again, it's just a great example what Tom Wood does, investing in their people. And a few of us on here are living proof of that.
Katie and Alexis, I want to come to you next with this question. Bill described some of the mentorship specifically in the dealership environment that you have had the opportunity to go through and then, become leaders in your own right. So what does effective mentorship look like when you are in the Tom Wood
retail environment. And Katie and Alexis, what makes this stick?
I'll go first, Alexis. Basically, we have accountability. I mean, Bill, not to shout you out too much, Bill, but he has a whole plan. He has a whole 12-month plan for me, which is unheard of, really, in any car business, in my personal opinion. But a whole 12-month plan where I know where I need to be at. I know if I don't know the answer to that question, I have a handful of people that I can lean on, and it's foolproof, really.
Alexis?
Yeah, similar for my kind of career path. I started as a valet and worked my way up within the service department, doing everything except for actually being a technician, which you guys would never want that for me. But I was able to, I had a great service manager before me. My GM has always been extremely helpful and kind of letting me, I like to do things kind of on my own at first. And if I need to ask questions, then he's always there for me to help in any way he can. I've also got a great parts manager as well. And she's always kind of there as a second person to ask for questions. But I've always had a great people on staff here at Lexus and within the group at Tom Wood to help me along the way.
So Alexis, if I can ask you to follow up on that career path you're speaking about, how does your organization identify team members with leadership potential early? What do you see? And what does Tom Wood do to help develop them?
Yeah. I like to look for traits that, I had when younger and earlier on in my career. Someone that's, always asking questions, always trying to find something else to do, whether it's something that they feel like they fully understand, or, I don't know a lot about the ins and outs of a car. Is there any way I can get my hands on, being an apprentice here? Or is there any way that I can work within our in-house BDC so that way you can work on your customer service? So that's kind of what I'm always looking for, is someone wanting to step up and help, but then also not scared to ask questions.
And Katie,
Yeah,
I just want to get a little bit more from Katie.
Yeah.
Oh, so, one major thing that I feel is super important are core values. The sincere desire to help others, kind of like what Alexis was saying. It's important. It's something that the Tom Wood Group measures our success by, is not necessarily by the quantity of franchises or the number of buildings. It's the quality of people that are inside of it. And those are the people that we want to make sure get to that next level.
Yeah. And that's amazing. And it's great to hear from you guys that have kind of experienced that mentorship firsthand. And I would also like to come to you, Bill, because Skyler mentioned the fact that you saw him and you kind of recognized and asked the question, what would you like to do in the future? And so what did you recognize with him as well? Is there anything specific that you identified that was like, okay, he has leadership potential and opportunity for real growth as well?
That's a great question. And I remember the day like it was yesterday, and it was many years ago. And I'm struggling as a service director trying to change a license plate frame, and was struggling outside. And out of the corner of my eye, this young kid comes running up to offer to help me. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. And it started up just a great conversation. And one of the things I learned many years ago is look for talent. Look for talented people with drive, people that have a sincere desire to grow in this industry and are passionate like we are. And I saw that in Skyler many years ago, and I didn't hesitate to start offering opportunities and where would you like to go and what would you like to do. And of course, I'm very partial to the fixed op side, so I try to pull them out of the sales side very quickly and bring them to the best side, and that's the fixed op side. So I saw that in Skyler early on. I still see that. in Skyler, and just recently, January asked him if he would be a mentor to Katie, just because I've seen so much growth in Skyler and his ambitions to understand the business and learn, right? So this is a learning opportunity for him to assist in running a service department side by side with Katie as she's being developed over this 12 months. And it's just wonderful to see this type of engagement within our organization. And I think Katie mentioned you don't see that often, and it's a shame. I agree with her, you don't. And again, it's just things I've picked up along the way over the years. But I have to say, and I can't say it enough, it's kudos to Jeff Wood, and all glory goes to him. He allows us to do what we get to do every day. And Jeff Wood could say no mentorships, no training, no NCM. He could shut all that down, right? But he doesn't. He believes in people. He believes in culture. He believes in our core values, and he believes in giving back to communities and our employees. And he allows us to have a Automotive University in the thing. So I say it's all to Jeff Wood.
Incredible stuff, Bill, and it's such it's so inspiring to hear how you put this education mindset really into, from the moment that your employees are hired, all the way along their journey. And Aaron and Skyler, just to get your perspective, and Aaron, I know you have a lot of interns that come in from the high school level that get the opportunity to work within the Tom Wood Automotive Group and see all of these opportunities that are available, as they continue to think about what the future looks like. So how do you help employees see the long-term career paths that are available in the dealership, and not just the current role that they're starting out with?
Placing my interns, I haven't found one person that isn't just so eager to help. So every time I go into a store, there's always somebody there willing to take an intern, willing to take somebody in under their wing and show them the ins and outs of the business. And it's been an awesome thing to see across every single Tom Wood location. It's been consistent. So, everybody from parts to service to sales, even everybody wants an intern, and it's pretty incredible that they all want to help.
Skyler?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing, sharing my story. I mean, it's again, like I said, living proof of what can be done. It's what you put into it. It's the attitude you have. It's trusting your mentors that came before you. It's funny, Katie and I just had an interview with a porter about a week ago, shared our story with him, and it completely blew his mind. He was starstruck. It's just, sharing our example. And this kid's starting with us on Monday, and sees the vision already from the start.
I have a follow-up question, and I'd like to ask that to each of you today on the panel. I'll come to Alexis first. Same question will be for Katie, then Skyler, and then Aaron, and then I'll get Bill's take on it as well. On the topic that we're speaking to today, what role do leaders and managers, Alexis, play in owning the development of their people? Okay, and from your perspective, how do you hold them, and how do you hold that accountable?
Well, I would like to start with kind of holding myself accountable. I like to make sure that I'm always seen. For the most part, I'm a very hands-on manager, so I'm not someone you're going to find in my office all that often. I like to be on the service drive. I like to know what's going on throughout the day, whether that's on the drive or in our shop. I think that really helps, no matter if it's just a valet or a part-time employee, or whether it's a sales manager. They can all see that I'm no better than anyone else on what the job or skill level is. I'm willing to help, and that's kind of what I look for in other people, so that they know, hey, if there's trash on the ground, it doesn't matter, just walk past it, pick it up, throw it away. Just the most minimal task, as long as you're leading by example. That's kind of what I like to do throughout the day.
Yep, and I like that visibility. So important, Alexis, in what we do, right? In automotive retail. Katie, your perspective on that as well.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Alexis just a little bit. So accountability is huge, but right now I'm still kind of learning on what to do, what to look for. But I'm not to the point where I'm not going to get my hands dirty with my advisors, with my porters. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to be putting seat covers on cars, floor mats. I'm going to work as many hours as my advisors do. Right now, they're putting in the time, and I'm going to show them that I'm going to do the same thing, hold myself accountable to that aspect, and show them that hard work does pay off. And I'm here to help them to reach a goal. We're all here to make the same goal happen.
I like it. Skyler, what's your take on that?
Yeah, my take on that, I think that's your job as a leader, is to get people where they want to be in life, whether it's within your group, whether it's they want to be a chef. I mean, it's your job as a leader to get people where they want to be. And I think it's so important. You need to look for your number twos, look for these people with potential and invest in them. I think it's a great retention tool. It's a way, I mean, that's people feel valued when you do that, when you pour everything you have into them. Like, I gotta use my example, like others have done for me. I feel my duty to do that for others. And then delegation, I think, is huge. Share all the information you have. Basically, you need to train your replacement, makes your life easier, grows them all at the same time. So I think just, truly investing them, and it is truly your responsibility to develop your people.
Aaron, I want to come to you with the same question. Let me re-ask it again. What role do leaders and managers play in owning the development of their people, and how do you hold them accountable? And in that, Aaron, if you could also give us some perspective from some of us on the outside who have not been to Tom Wood, how many rooftops, approximately how many people, because this is quite a large organization.
Yeah, so when I'm looking for mentors for my interns, I'm looking for somebody that has passion, the same kind of passion I do. And at Tom Wood, it's easy to find. The culture around here to help other people is incredible. So of my 20 interns, we've got interns at 7 different stores, and a couple other students working part-time for Tom Wood, not in the internship, just in the class. So it's we have incoming technicians all over Tom Wood.
Wow. And Stephen, just before I come over to Bill, from your perspective as a student at Northwood University, what do these internship opportunities represent to somebody coming into the industry or thinking about a career in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, they mean everything. I can't speak highly enough of internship opportunities because there's education, of course, in that, and part of the education that really means the most is the hands-on learning experiences. At my school, we have the same emphasis on experiential learning. You have to learn through action, and I think it's incredible to hear from you guys and mentors that kind of appreciate the fact that if there's passion, that you do something with it. You recognize it, you cultivate it, and Bill, you spoke about having a plan, and having those tracks is so energizing as a young professional, because you understand that there is a path. And hearing success stories like Skyler and all of you guys, it's really inspirational to hear that no matter where you start from, you can always grow. There's always a path to do more. So as a college student, it's really inspirational to hear from you guys, and it's encouraging to know that there's people out here that are passionate about helping younger people succeed. So,
Bill, that same question for you. What role do leaders and managers play in owning the development of their people?
It's our responsibility, and it's not really just a role. It's something that we have to do. We try to leave this industry better than we found it. And we all have these experiences, I guess. I came out of Lincoln Tech many years ago, a long time ago, as a technician helper, and just had that visual of what's next. How can I learn more about the business? And I was fortunate enough that they gave me a chance and allowed me. So I always gave this promise to myself that if I ever get in a position that I can help others, I will help others. And it's not hard to find. We have 1,184 employees in our organization. And I like to say I know most of them, but I don't. It's unfortunate. But I do know every 289 technician that we have. I know all of them. I know all of the 89 service advisors that we have. So I try to make sure that I'm in front of them. And if they need anything, I'm here to support. I'm a support person. I spend majority of my time in stores, not in my office. I like to live in stores and just coach and mentor and help and get to know people and their space. I always say, this is your office, and I'm here to visit, your office. So it is really our responsibility in this industry to find the next generation. So I can now support Jeff's son that someday will take over this great business, to have a whole panel of brand new technicians that Aaron's going to supply to us, and a future of porters that Katie and Skyler are hiring that are going to be service managers down the road.
Bill, I want to give you the last word for the day, because our audience that's listening, a lot of retailers think about implementing what you've created at Tom Wood Automotive Group. But, the question becomes, what's the best way to get started? How do I begin having this conversation with my dealer principal, with my managing partner? How do I start to shape this journey? Because it can sound, incredibly overwhelming if you don't have that culture of learning established. So Bill, in your final words for our panel today, what advice would you give to our retail audience that wants to implement something like you've created at Tom Wood Automotive Group?
I think, and I think Alexis said it best, you have to hold yourself accountable before you can hold anybody else accountable. So how do you hold somebody accountable is a documented, well-scripted process. And if you offer up a process that has KPIs of what the expectation is, how do you build that process? I say 1 quarter at a time. So take it and outline it. How many chapters do I want? What are the process that I want? That might be the first quarter. The second quarter, I might start putting bullet points inside what those chapters look like. Third quarter, I'm going to share that with the team and get their buy-in. And what am I not looking at? What am I missing to get the team's buy-in? And then by the end of that third quarter, you really have something special that you can put together. And once you put it together, you really look at it, utilize AI technology, and dump it in there. And ask it to lay it out in a way that's really understandable and comprehensible across the group, and let it spit out a 47-page service advisor handbook that's really special, that you can train and coach around the group and hold accountability. And if you do that, it's going to save you years of agony that I've been through to try to develop something special like that you can grow around the group. So one bite at a time, one step at a time. A guy, one of my mentors told me years ago, you know what, if I need to lose 100 pounds, it's not the 100 pounds I need to lose, it's the 1 pound a week that I need to lose. And if you focus on that 1 pound a week, you will lose 100 pounds in 100 weeks.
Incredible stuff, Ted. This has been an incredibly eye-opening panel, and amazing panelists with us from the Tom Wood Automotive Group here with us today.
Exciting stuff, everybody. Thank you so much. Tom Wood Automotive, a very special organization. Want to thank the panel, Aaron, Skyler, Katie, Alexis, Bill, Demaree, and Stephen Hackbarath for being with us here today. Great insights into career path and mentorship at the Tom Wood Automotive Group, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Do you want to provide your customers with an exceptional car buying journey rather than just a transaction? As Carl Sewell advocates in his book Customers for Life, the key to ensuring customer loyalty lies in delivering an enjoyable and memorable experience. And that starts with assembling the right team. But how do you guarantee that you're hiring the best talent for the job? According to Sewell, one of the most effective methods is using a pre-employment assessment called the Trago Personnel Survey, which consistently identifies top talent and transforms company culture. While many dealerships recognize the importance of recruiting top talent, the challenge lies in identifying such talent during the hiring process. Enter Go Trago. With over 40 years of research and expertise in the auto industry, Dr. Trago and his team have been instrumental in helping clients like Sewell and many others figure out if the applicant can and will do the job. We adopt a scientific approach to evaluating candidates' behaviors and accurately predicting their job performance. Say goodbye to the frustrations of dealing with subpar hires. With Go Trago, you can transform your staff into the happiest, friendliest, and most reliable team your customers have ever encountered, ensuring customers for life. Let Go Trago guide you in selecting the perfect talent for your organization.
Every shot I take feels like destiny. Game on the lock, building my legacy. The grind ain't free and it can't be bought. Grind ain't free and it can't be bought. Mind of a champion, I'm bringing every thought. I set the level, I set the tone. When the game's on the line, yeah, I'm standing alone. I set the level, I set the tone. When the game's on the line, yeah, I'm standing alone. They ain't never done it like this before. You know I'm the best, you can take that sword. They ain't never done it like this before. Set the bar high, then I raise that board.
Automating the road ahead, one scan at a time. Here's the Tractable panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Tractable and Luma Scanner panel. And Ted, exciting innovations coming from Tractable and Luma Scanner.
It's an exciting time to be in fixed operations. Jamie Anderson and James Spears are here with us. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you. Yeah, great to be back. Thank you.
Gentlemen, we're hearing a whole lot about Tractable and Luma Scanner in the marketplace. So if it's okay, let's dive right into some questions that Sarah and I have for both of you. Here we are in the middle of May, middle of the second quarter. And Jamie, if I can ask you, how has the Luma Scanner evolved to meet the high volume daily reality of 2026 dealerships?
You know, that's a great question, Ted. So, I think one of the things with Luma Scanner that's a big differentiator between other companies is, at our core, we're a software company. So when you ask about the evolution, I think it's going to be very specific to every single dealer that comes on board. So one of the things we refuse to do is be an off-the-shelf solution that you just unbox and it's the same. So one of the things, we're doing is we're applying different engineers to different use cases for every dealership. So, we've got the specific items that, between the undercarriage, the total scan, tires, things like that. But every dealership has its own use cases. So what we're doing is we're fine tuning it for every single use case for every specific dealer. And then also with the integrations. So right now we're We've completed our 7th, and we've got about 12 on the docket right now for all these integrations. So to really help streamline their processes and get integrated within their systems, and eliminating a lot of the manual procedure that's happening within the dealerships.
Well, Jamie, to follow up on the high volume components, and as you described, dealerships are really looking at having more and more vehicles coming through their service drives. How does the scanner help dealers cut their policy budget and stop eating missed damage costs?
Absolutely. So, what we're finding is a lot of the dealerships, we have no caps on our scans. So it's unlimited scans for the dealership. So with the used car department, we're asking them run every single trade through the scanner and get a complete 360 of the vehicle. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we put a price to it. So it helps with that trade-in evaluation. But also for the policy piece, if anybody comes through and the next day they say, hey, this happened while it was at your dealership, I was getting an oil change, every scan is time date stamped. So we're able to see right there whether the damage occurred beforehand or actually at the dealership. And this is become very helpful for them, because now they're utilizing it not only for policy, but also for all the new cars that are getting brought in from the manufacturer. Any fleets, loaners, anything like that, we're asking them run every single car through. So it's helping on policy, but it's helping in all these other departments as well.
Jimmy, a question for you. On the heels of the Q1 installations you've done, what would you say is the number one lesson you've learned from your most successful installations over the first couple months of the year?
Well, we launched this product to the dealerships at NADA in February. And, here we are in May. We have so many installs. We've learned that our customers really like, you think about our 3 pillars. Number one, we're vertically integrated. We make the device. We service the device. We install it. Number two, we have such a great technical advantage. We're 12 years old in software and artificial intelligence, detecting damage and inspecting on vehicles. And then number three, it's so simple to use. So that's what we've seen is this device being able to be rapidly set up at a customer, and they're up and running that very day. We have no more than 90 minutes for the typical install, and
Wow.
it plugs into the wall just like your toaster will. So this is really a very fast way to start to earn that ROI in the fixed operations.
Well, Jimmy, this really beats some of those bulky hardware scanners that dealerships have maybe struggled with. And as you mentioned, the software first AI component, I'd love to get more information on that. How have you built Tractable and LumaScanner to really be software first AI?
If you think about the Luma scanner and you see it, it's a very slimline device, just centered on 10 cameras, underbody camera, and also tire reader. So it's just a great data collection. We collect between 3,500 and then 4,000 images of the car that comes through with between 2 to 5 miles per hour. And so as that car comes across those cameras and across those lights, we're able to detect every nick, every bump, every hail damage, if there's that as well. And then be able to use our, 12-year-old foundation. We got a very early start in AI, particularly in damage recognition in automotive areas. So being able to use that, our long history in the market, then we can convert that right into something that's so simple for the technician to explain to the customer. It's just a great way to be able to have a dashboard and relay that information to the customer in a very easy, meaningful way.
Jamie, if I can come back to you, we know the industry is ready for this. Dealers are ready. Consumers are craving this kind of transparency. But Jamie, with the rapid scaling you've experienced at Tractable and LumaScanner the last couple months, what's been the biggest surprise in how dealerships are now actually utilizing LumaScanner? What have you seen?
I think the thing that jumps out at me the most is the PDR piece in the collision. Majority of the dealerships have, and some of our pilots have told us flat out, we've neglected our collision centers or we don't concentrate on the PDR. So this has really brought a lot of attention to them of missed opportunities in the service lane, and being able to have those customers that are coming through the service lane on a normal basis be able to show and educate that consumer, hey, this is the damage that's on your vehicle. This is how much it would cost. Would you like us to have somebody repair it while you're on site, or would you like to make an appointment with our collision center? So you're seeing this bridge being built between the collision center and dealership, and they're realizing, hey, there's a lot of opportunity here that we're missing out on. And for the collision center, it's a huge benefit because now they're getting all these opportunities on a daily basis when in the past they've kind of missed them. So that's been a huge plus for both sides of the house.
And Jamie, I'm glad you brought up, both the variable side and fixed side in this equation, because more than ever, we're seeing an emphasis on service acquisition. And also, used car managers are paying close attention to every piece of inventory, potentially that's coming through the service drive or coming in off the street, for those trade appraisals. So we've heard about underbody capabilities. Is that becoming a standard requirement for used car managers now?
100%. So we just had an example last week. I was with a fairly large dealer group, and they asked me. They said, "Where were you yesterday?" Because they took a trade in, and in some of the markets, people are modifying trucks and putting off market exhausts and taking catalytic converters off and things like that. And he said, the sales guys at 8 o'clock at night are trying to get that deal done, and next thing you know, the next morning they come back in and they've got $10,000 loss on that car because they realize that exhaust has been modified or taken off. So they have to replace that before they can put it back on the front line. So a lot of these dealerships now are saying, hey, every single trade must go through. We have to be able to look at it and see if anything's been modified underneath, because that's a huge loss for the dealership the next day. Trying to make up that loss and then trying to get it retailed as fast as possible.
It makes a lot of sense, Jamie. And with used vehicles being at a premium and dealers needing to acquire them, you've got the technology to help them and mitigate any potential losses. I want to come back to something you mentioned just a little bit earlier about collision centers. What is the win-win for a dealer when a local collision center decides to place a Luma scanner on, let's say, their service drive?
Yeah, it's definitely a win for both parties. And I mentioned it earlier about building that bridge between the dealership and collision center, whether it's their own collision center or a partner collision center, because we tried to build it where it was very specific, where the dealership benefited with multi-use tools. But then the collision center also is getting a lot of opportunities for that PDR work, some of the collision work, and then opening the door for the dealership to sell more parts, more work, more part sales. So the benefits for both parties, we're finding everybody's very excited by it, because now the dealerships, multi departments are using it for different use cases. Collision center, on the other hand, is just reaping the benefits of all the different opportunities that are coming through the service drive, where it's educating the consumer, and that's going to be the key component to that.
James, we're also in this equation talking about a lot of the efficiencies that are gained for all of these processes to really occur. And as Jamie pointed out, this is really the evolution between having a cohesive strategy between variable and fixed operations. I also, again, you mentioned the install is only 90 minutes. Can a dealer move the scanner if they decide they need to reconfigure their service lane?
They can. And in fact, it's just a simple phone call to us to let us know it's going to be moved. Our operations can absolutely work with them to ensure that when they unplug it, move it, and get it back in, that everything works very well. But certainly, and one of the reasons we would want this to be moved is because they're going to a bigger facility. We've helped them get a lot more money, and they're able to open another lane, maybe put another Luma scanner in as well. But yeah, Luma Scanner is a very flexible device.
And Jimmy, I think that's one of the reasons Luma Scanner stands out. Okay. I wasn't sure if I heard that correctly the first time, but 90 minutes for the installation.
Yes.
That's absolutely incredible and unprecedented.
It is. But a lot of this comes to our processes. The installation doesn't start when the tech shows up. The installation starts when you talk to us and you buy the device. So we know where it's going to be. What we have, so we can get eyes on target and then see where it's going to be installed. So when we show up, we're fully prepared. So you think about installation, not when the tech shows up. Installation starts at the moment of sale. We're really thinking about how we're going to best service that customer.
And you're really forcing the dealer to think about that as well with this new technology. So, in our closing moments, gentlemen, I want to ask you, and Jimmy, I'll come to you. What does the growth of Luma Scanner, your product, tell us about where technology, where service drive, where all this is headed by next year, by 2027? What are your thoughts there?
Well, what we want to see, and it's called service drive. We really want to see that word service, and so do the customers. If we take a look at some of the biggest complaints that people have about coming to a dealership, it's always around speed. Speed, speed, speed. They want speed, they want accuracy, and they want service. So I say, let's put that service back in the service lane. And then we let our device have the car come through. We rapidly, again, 30 seconds when the car drives through. Now the technician or the service advisor, they're really advising because our device spotted all the damage. Now they're concentrating on the needs of the customer. They're looking up that service history, knowing it's not like the first time they just met the customer. So they're concentrating on that customer and that experience. And that's what we've seen. We've seen people that have started using our device come back to us and say, the experience and the lanes are so much better. And what we want to be able to see, and particularly in the future, we are seeing our installs. We have them in Japan, we have them in the UK, we have them across the United States, and it's only been a couple months. So what we want to see is Tractable become much more of the standard in the service lane. And then people are able to focus on that customer and let the technology, you've seen the device. It's a very low profile device. It doesn't need to be intrusive. You need to focus on that customer.
And that's one of the things we've heard from dealers as well. All right. It's a good looking device. You've given us a lot of great information here. The time is now, everybody. The company is called Tractable. And Jamie, it's not an overnight company. I heard 12 years. You told us about that last time. You've been in the market for some time, but really that overnight success has been many years in the making, if you will, and the time is now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I think that's one of our distinct advantages is just the age of our AI. We were famous before AI was famous, so adapting that AI to a hardware solution is just a game changer. We're seeing that in the market right now.
Everybody, trust and transparency. We're told customers absolutely love it. Okay. And grow to expect it, Sarah, when they come back on the service lane. And Luma Scanner has all that, Sarah.
It does. And gentlemen, if our audience wants to learn more and find out how your solutions apply to their dealership and their businesses, what's the best first step?
I would say, my phone number, my personal cell number is at the bottom there, or they can reach out to me at james.anderson@tractable.ai. Same with Jimmy. Either which way, reach out to us.
And of course, lumascanner.com.
That too.
You see the website on the ticker down below, Tractable, lumascanner.com. Jamie's cell phone on the ticker, the 352 area code number. We want our audience to reach out with questions, and these gentlemen have a lot of experience in getting this up and running and sustaining it with great success. So, Jamie Anderson and James Spears, congratulations on all the success you're having, and we're looking forward to seeing and hearing a lot more about Luma Scanner as we go through the years.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody. For questions, reach out to Jamie Anderson, James Spears. Lumascanner.com is the website, and 352, you can see the number down below for the cell phone. You can reach out directly to them. Everybody, the team from Tractable, Lumascanner, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are here at NADA 2026 in Las Vegas. I'm Katrina Ness, joined by
Vanessa Collins, and we are currently standing in the Lumascanner by Tractable. We are here with Felix Lau. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So, for our viewers that don't know, tell us, what is Lumascanner?
So it's a 360 scanner. We have an underbody scanner that looks at, rust, any oil leak, right? And then we have the side that captures the body damage. And then we have the roof that looks at the roof that is good for hail damage, right? So for any vehicles at a dealership, what we're seeing is every day, 300 cars go through the service drive, and 100 of those have some kind of damages, mostly PDR work that dealerships are not really taking advantage today. And then every year they're missing out on $1 million of service opportunity that they're not doing today.
So talk to us about how your product helps increase the sales opportunities within the service lane.
So customers drive through the service drive within 60 seconds. We service the opportunity on an iPad, right? The service advisors get an alert that there's body work, and then we give them a script on what to say, right? And then they can sell the work right there, or we can follow up as a text afterwards, right? So they get the work later on.
Wow. And so when it comes to dealerships, saving time is so important. So tell us about how the Lumascanner helps to save time in the service lane.
Well, it's really an all-in-one scanner, right? We look at the underbody, we look at the tires, look at the tread depth, look at the body work. So in one shot, you basically get all the information you need to help the fixed ops to increase the revenue.
That is amazing, finding those missed opportunities. Right. And it doesn't replace the MPI video, but it definitely helps support it.
Absolutely.
It does. Talk to us about how this can also protect the dealer. When a customer comes in and they say, hey, you did this to my car.
Absolutely, yeah, I missed that too. Well, so what we know is that dealers typically reserve $10,000, $15,000 a month, right, to protect against liability claims. This helps them to protect them because they can say, hey, I can see this car came in and it already has the damage on it. But hey, if you want, I can still fix it for you, right? And then I have a body shop across the street that can do that for you.
And there's another sale.
That's right, exactly.
In this industry, technology is rapidly evolving. We hear about AI all the time. Now we have machines like this. So what would you say to dealers that might be hesitant to implementing Lumascanner into their stores?
Well, if you look at the show today, AI is everywhere, right? So don't be the last, be the first to adopt the technology, and then work with a vendor that can evolve over time, right? So that's really the power of AI. It's not just today, it's tomorrow. We can continue to develop new capabilities. So there's more and more that's going to come.
100%, staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah. That is fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Felix. This was very insightful. And for those of you online, stay tuned. We have so much more valuable conversations coming your way.
Streamline your service lane with the Total Customer Connect panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Velo and Total Customer Connect panel. And Ted, lots of exciting information that our panelists will get into today.
Very timely, Sarah. You're so right. We want to welcome back our great friend, Euwart Anderson, Executive Vice President of Velo. And Euwart, I see you brought a colleague with you as well.
I did indeed. Ted and Sarah, thanks for having us here. Certainly glad to be online with you guys once again, and many more to come, I'm sure. We've got Steve Guyette from our team, joining us. Steve Guyette actually has a 2-decade plus background in all things, franchise automotive and fixed ops, and then also has a very heavy SaaS, software as a service, specifically a set of experience points within our space, offering a myriad of options to dealers and really helping dealers to achieve greatness and profitability in their fixed ops space. So yeah, really excited to have Steve on.
I'm excited to be here as well. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Steve, welcome, and you've got great retail credentials on top of all. So welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, Euwart, to kick everything off, we want to talk about what everyone's biggest opportunity is and really unpack how technology, customer engagement, and AI are reshaping the modern service lane. Just to kick things off, let's talk about what the modern service lane is and what is that opportunity?
Sure. So to define the modern service lane as we see it, it's really three primary components. One, it's having a balance of technology and hands-on deck, so to speak, in the service lane that allow advisors to advise and allow the technology to do the rest, right? So there's a balance of tech stacks that are hands-on keyboard, the likes of varying service lane tech like Dealer Logics or Service Connect from TCC, Total Customer Connect. The second piece of a modern service lane is a service lane that's leveraging AI in the most optimal way. The service lane is not the dealership's like touch point with a customer. It's more than that. It's a dealership's economic engine with a customer. 50 to 60% of the dealership's profit comes out of the service lane. So you want AI basically augmenting anything that it can to allow your people to go do what they do best, right? The third and final thing is technology that specifically arms technicians to be able to create trust and great experiences with customers. So not from the advisors or service manager's point, but from the technician's point specifically. That includes a myriad of, whether it's media and video, or if it's specific scripting and transcription from them walking a customer through what's wrong with their vehicle to create trust and transparency. Those are the three things that we would say defines a modern service lane. And if you're missing any of those three things, you are missing a huge opportunity to create profitability in your service lane.
Very well said. And Steve, great recognition now for that service drive. It really is a gold mine for the entire dealership, Steve.
No, it sure is. You definitely said it great. And you got to think about one thing in the service industry. What do we have? It's time. That's all we have. We're selling time. Once time passes, we've lost it. If we can shrink down the areas that our staff is doing right now and utilize it better, technology is all there. I mean, we can speed up the process. We can eliminate those, the staff from walking around or the banter of the things going on. And then think about the AI. I mean, my God, what a change it's done in our industry these days of making sure that the dealership is available when the customers want us to be available, because that's the issue. It's all about the customer. It's not about us.
So, gentlemen, I want to follow that up. You're in thousands of dealerships with Velo right now. Congratulations on that, gentlemen. Great strides with what you're making with Velo and that focused on fixed operations. What challenges are you seeing? And this is for either of you, that dealers are facing today from the Velo perspective and what you see out there.
I'll just hit one, and then I'll pass it over to Steve. I think Steve's got some really acute understanding of this that frankly is going to usurp anything I can share. The main thing I would call out would be the challenge is centered around missed calls, missed opportunities for revenue, getting customers back in the service lane. That whole retention life cycle, I think, is probably the big opportunity there. For a lot of dealers, they're having that real-time communication and toolkit, armed in the service lane and deployed with automation and some hands-on keyboards is not optimal in most dealers. They're working really, really hard, to be fair, to overcome that, but they're probably not all working with the right tools, or potentially the right alignment toward where to spend their time and where their dollar for hour is really optimally based, right? So that I think is what they're really struggling with. If we can create the demand and make sure those customers are coming back, then I think everything else kind of follows that. So if we can't, said differently, if we can't get that right, then the rest of it's really irrelevant. Steve, what do you think? What are some of the other issues you're seeing?
See, you're right on point. And then think about the other part of it, that the challenge is the technology that our dealers are using today. They're using several different vendors, several different places. The problem with that is I've got to teach my staff how to use different things, and it just gets confusing. And they were logging into in multiple components. When you can log into one single platform and do everything from it, that's going to make the sense. And then one of the big struggles, and I've been handling all week, and it's been an exciting week because call after call this week is what I've been dealing with. Steve, I need more traffic, and I need it now. Not next week, not next month. I need it now. How can you get me traffic today? Fantastic. AI phone calls. We can make outbound AI phone calls and get out 1,000 phone calls overnight. There's no BD. We have an inbound BDC center. So we have a BDC call center that's making calls. I would love to just take my entire staff and do that for one dealership. I can do that for tons of dealerships now. I got 4 dealerships just now. We're doing phone calls today. And think about this. When is the optimal time to talk to your customer, right? It's all different factors. How about lunchtime? How about 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get all my phone calls out at lunchtime? I'd have to have 1 million people making phone calls. Press one button on the AI. Noontime, I just shut all those calls out. Now I'm going to pick up business for you, and then we can book appointments for you within days, not weeks. That's the difference. What dealers need today.
Steve, you're so right about the communication and the traffic component. That is very strongly a subject that Ted and I are hearing from dealers across the country, that these challenges, slow communication, the delays, the customers needing status updates or wanting that information urgently, and then the dealership not having the means or the methods to be able to communicate effectively to all the different customer touch points that need to happen. So, Euwart, how do we help solve those challenges? And how do we bring together better technology, better communication, and practical AI to create a more connected service experience?
Yeah, good question, Sarah. I think two points I would make it going into that. One is, I think there is this, if we just all kind of call it what it is, there is maybe a belief that AI is somehow like replacing people or replacing advisors or, some of that. It's not. It's actually removing all the noise so advisors can advise. Like that's really what it's doing. It's removing all the noise so that technicians can do great videos one time and get those out to customers quickly versus having to do it 3 or 4 times. It's creating quick connection, real-time connection with customers, to Steve's earlier point, to get them scheduled and get them on the book so they get into the service lane on the front end. And I think it really comes down to like accepting that fact. And then I mentioned there were 2 things. The second thing is recognizing like what your golden metrics are, right? Like every dealer probably has had the same golden metrics for the last 15 to 20 years. Those golden metrics have to evolve like life evolves, right? And like our environment has evolved. And one of those golden metrics, some of them still hold true. One of them is still hours sold per RO. Like that's not going to change. And everything you have your advisor, parts manager, and technician doing that does not drive hours sold per RO, you are detracting from one of your golden metrics that actually does withstand the test of time, right? So I think it's about like really understanding what technologies do you need, what evolution stage is your service lane at, because all service lanes are not made equal, right? We all know we have our steady eddies in some of those service lanes, and they don't adopt technology very well. And getting the right tech stack for them is important. You also have your forward thinkers, super high technical aptitude types that pick up and embrace and just love new technology. And you want to give those folks as much of that technology as you can. So there's almost this like kind of self-reflection at the dealer level to understand where are we? And then what do I need based on where we are? Not what's trendy and what's all available out there that I can just go get all of it. Getting all of it might not be the answer.
No, for sure. And then on top of that, you've got to look at, like you had said, every dealership is not created equal. Even if you've got multiple stores in the same group, they're not all going to be the same. They have different process. They have different procedures. They have different people, right? We have to be able to adapt to their environment. When we can adapt to their environment and get their buy-in, because that's the success. You've got to think about your weakest individual in your dealership to make him successful. That's the guy that we have to focus in on. And when we get his buy-in, everybody's going to follow suit right through technology, and they're going to embrace it, and they're going to challenge it. And I love when you challenge it. Give me the challenges because I'm going to help you and understand it. And we talk about, I mean, listen, some of our technicians, they're not young. We've got some guys in their 60s out there. We're still out there turning wrenches. And for those guys to embrace that technology, I remember an individual that point blank told me he's never going to touch it, never going to work with the system, and point blank, maybe go away. I said, just humor me, try it. I come back a week later, the guy hugs me, says, I've never made so much money in my life. Thank you. Can you go help that young kid? Because he doesn't understand it.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, it's an exciting time. I don't remember in my career a time like this where we had so many things on the technology side that are going to directly impact the dealership. Steve, it seems like it's all coming in on fixed, right? It's happening in fixed service and parts. Everybody is now aware of it, or if not, they will be. And it's been a quick awakening. So, Steve, you mentioned, the director looking for more traffic today.
Yeah.
How can I increase the number of people that I have coming into my drive? How do all these things with the technology, Euwart and Steve, positively impact the bottom line? Give us some rundown on that.
So let me just give you some thoughts about the marketing aspect of it.
Okay.
We do marketing today. It's been, maybe text messages, maybe emails, maybe direct mail, maybe live phone calls. What works? Everybody's different. But I'll tell you what, if you go after all of it, that is going to ensure it. Now, you got to think about direct mail. Since COVID, direct mail is starting to come back now. I kind of look forward to looking at my mailbox now. Like,
Yes.
what do I got in today, right? Now, when you're getting those pieces of mail, you have to tangibly hold that thing to throw it away. You have to. Email, you can go click, get rid of it, right? We can filter it out. Phone calls. Think about a phone call. We're in a meeting right now. My phone's ringing left and right. I'm not going to answer it. But guess what's happening right now? There's a voicemail. Guess what I will do? I'm going to answer that voice. I'm going to listen to it. Oh, hey, Steve, this is ABC Toyota. We want to see you for service. Okay. That is it. And it's going to be consistent. The message is going to be consistent. And that's where it all comes in play.
It's so
Euwart, I was going to say, Euwart, maybe some of your thoughts on this as well. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I think in the grand scheme, like Steve kind of covered the front end well, right? Like that kind of get the dealer or get the customer rather back into the dealer, making sure that all those touch points happen in a really optimal automated way wherever possible. I think also what else is important is when they get into the service lane, what is that experience like, right? Like what level of trust can they create while they're there? Can the dealer create rather with that customer while they're there, and how do they do that? And I think there's two simple touch points that really define that today based on what the market data says. One is transparency, and transparency is not just saying it. Transparency is showing them, like very, very clear videos and media and pictures that clearly articulate in layman's terms, not tech terms, this is what's wrong with your vehicle and why you need to fix this from a safety protocol perspective. And the other piece is how consistent and how quickly do those communications happen with that customer. Does that customer get strung out for 4 days and they don't know what's going on with their vehicle, or is there this ongoing communication cadence, automated or not, and infused in that communication cadence the transparency I mentioned? If dealers can continue to solve that, that's where they're going to see their profitability skyrocket and continue to grow, because that's their ultimate goal, right? But if they're not able to give customers that, the reality is the market's really competitive for the customer's business. Yeah. Like there are shops and other dealers who are hunting for that customer, and if they will give them that experience through technology or otherwise, that customer is gone. So dealers really have to accept that this is not about like adopting technology to keep up to just keep up with the times. This is about adopting technology or losing profitability in your bottom line.
Very well said, Euwart. And Steve and Euwart, the biggest takeaway that I think Ted and I are taking from this conversation is that the opportunity in the modern service lane is really to reduce friction, improve communication, and create a better experience for both the customer and the dealership team. For our audience that's listening today, they may be wondering, okay, all of this information sounds incredible, but I'm overwhelmed. I'm not sure, for my business in 2026, what is the most important piece that I should be thinking about with getting started? And so, Euwart and Steve, what advice would you have for dealers to get started in this process?
Sure, I can jump in, and then Steve, I'll pass it to you. I think the simple advice would be to not feel that you need to consume all of this at once. This is not a full course meal you need to take down in one bite. This is more about assessing where you are today, and that is the first step that we would suggest. Assess where you are, and do that if you don't know how, with a partner who's willing to do that with you. Velo and Total Customer Connect TCC, we're more than happy to do that with you. We're not always looking to get dealers to buy our products as much as we are to looking to help dealers to be successful. That doesn't always mean they buy our products. Sometimes that means they're not ready for those types of products. But we can get you to partners and the frenemies in our market that we have that can offer you what you need, right? Like, we really want dealers to be successful because we know if they start at A and we're at E, they'll find their way there over time, and we can help be a part of that journey. The last thing I would say too, and before turning it over to Steve, is every minute saved in the lane with technology becomes margin. Every approval gained becomes retention. Every connected workflow becomes competitive advantage for that dealer, right? So that ultimately is what should be at your core, as far as your North Star of why you're using technology. If it doesn't solve those problems, don't use it. Steve, what are your thoughts?
So kind of what I think is the analogy is crawl, walk, run, right? We want to crawl first, and that's the way we've all evolved. We start running into it. That's going to get us into running into walls and stuff. So when I start looking at it, the first thing I'll always ask a dealer is just almost like you, a self-evaluation question. And I'll ask one simple question. What is one pain point that you have today? Just what is that? It puts it back into the driver in the driver's seat, the dealer's in the driver's seat now. And then we can work around that. And because we can help them with the solutions, but we need to know what they want to fix first. What do they need? Because sometimes they don't know what they need to fix yet. And that's the other part of it, right? They're like, well, what do you suggest? A lot of what we are, we've got a lot of background in the dealership world, which is phenomenal because we can talk the terms. We've actually sat in the shoes that they're in. I've turned wrenches. We've wrote service. We've dealt with customers. We know the environment. We've been there. We can help them and understand it and adapt to their needs. And then just figuring out, okay, let's start off with this first. And as you get comfortable with it, let's introduce this and let's bring this on. And then the big point is right now, videos. Everybody's talking about videos, right? So I had a conversation with a customer, was it yesterday? I think it was. He's like, Steve, he goes, I want to do the videos, but I can't get my people to do videos. It's okay. I said, you got two guys in the service drive. I look at them, they're just sitting there. I said, you think we can teach them how to use a camera and interview the technician and go over the car and be able to share that with the customer? And then when he completes it, it gets sent to that customer right away. Yeah. Simplicity. Take away the barriers. Find out what is stopping you from moving forward and have a solution. I love it when you give me an issue or a problem. I'm going to give you a solution to help you with that.
And Steve, you sat in that retail seat for many years, directing service, very large group. I won't mention any names, but you actually had a big hand in helping to design a lot of this early on in the process. And look at all the barriers now that have been overcome by things like video. You remember when we used to have to wait for the advisor to try to reach the customer and the tech pulls the car back into the lot and we're waiting to hear customers in a meeting? Now with things like video, like you said, you had mentioned the trust and transparency as well. We're accomplishing that. And look how quick the customer can hear directly from the tech. The tech is front facing now, Steve. Yeah. We've never seen that before in our history.
Take the video now. You do the video, you're one-to-one with that customer. Hey, Ted, this is Steve. I want to show you your vehicle. By the way, when you need service in the future, come visit me. Think about this part of it. MPIs. When we were doing MPIs back in the day, We would only do an MPI if it needed something, right? That's it. Videos, that's the same thing. People think I only got to do a video when I tell somebody something. Why deliver bad news all the time? Imagine getting a video saying, hey, Ted, this is Steve. I'm your certified technician. You do an amazing job with your car. Everything looks fantastic. Keep up on the good stuff. In fact, if you have any questions, feel free to get back to me. I'm your technician. Making it personal, right? That's where it makes a big difference with these technicians and getting that point out.
The whole face of fixed operations is changing, and it's changing dramatically, and it's for the better. It's for the customer, right? As both you gentlemen mentioned. And Euwart, I'll give you the last word on that, because you've put this whole platform together with Steve, Total Customer Connect, and some of the other amazing brands at Velo as well that really address, the whole fixed operations gamut.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for our Velo team for bringing these best in class assets together, and these teams together. I'm so glad to have Steve on the team and the rest of the TCC crew. I think the last word I would share would be just taking a really big step back for a moment. We have at Velo, we've got we've got an array of brands that cover various solutions in fixed ops, and that gives us access to a lot of information. And why that's important is our view is maybe a little different than what you might find in our space. We see everything from from being in over half of the franchise dealerships in the nation today with at least one product, to having roughly 25,000 ish to 30,000 rooftops in shops that are on the other side of the equation, non-franchise dealers doing service. We see 65 million ROs a year or more. That is a lot of information. And what that helps us to assess and share with our dealers is what we're seeing in the market, intel that crosses two lanes, which is really insightful and actionable. And most importantly, we know how to do it. And we're glad to share that with dealers. We're glad to share that expertise. And regardless of the outcome of it, we want our dealers to have these tools, right? So whether they're ours or someone else's, we want to make sure that we're involved as a trusted advisor to help that dealer be successful. And I think Steve is a great example of someone very senior who's proven that to be true. And we've got lots of other team members doing the same. So that would be my last thoughts as what I would provoke dealers to consider is look at the source of information you're using to do your assessments of what technologies you need and what technology evolution stage you're at. And if they're not providing you those sources that span a myriad of fixed ops automotive, like you might be missing some data points that could be helpful.
Sarah, exciting times in our business. I've been waiting for Euwart to bring Steve from Total Customer Connect on for some time. So Sarah, here he is, and here's TCC, and a big welcome from the Fixed Ops family.
Awesome.
It's incredible to have you, Steve and Euwart. It's always a pleasure to learn all the different things that are happening at Velo and Total Customer Connect. It'll be exciting to see how the rest of the year continues to evolve.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Steve, I see the totalcustomerconnect.com website at the bottom. If our audience wants to reach out to a fellow former fixed ops director and perhaps reach out to you with questions, maybe how this or that might work, are you open to that? I see you're very active on social media.
I am. Listen, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm available 24/7. I call it a lifestyle. I'm available for my dealers. My dealers, they can call me when I'm out to dinner. I answer the phone because I want to help them when they have the questions. I don't want to go. If I'm on a voicemail, unfortunately, with another customer, but I want people to reach out to me directly. I'm here to share anything advice. And one key thing is, don't look for a vendor, look for a partner. That's what Velo and Total Customer Connect is. We're partners in this industry because your success is going to be our success. And that's the only way we're going to work this out together.
All right. Steve Guyette, everybody, Total Customer Connect. Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Euwart, thank you for the opportunity to meet Steve now, and looking forward to all the great things that are ahead for all of us in 2026, Euwart, on the fixed ops side.
Sounds great.
Appreciate it.
Steve Guyette, everybody, totalcustomerconnect.com. Reach out. Any questions you have, and Euwart Anderson of Velo here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are here in Las Vegas at NADA 2026. I'm Katrina Ness here with
Vanessa Collins. Thank you so much, Katrina. And we are joined by Josh DeYoung from Rapid Recon. We are at the beautiful Velo booth here at NADA 2026. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here and glad to be seen.
Awesome. Josh, tell us about what Rapid Recon does for those that don't know.
So Rapid Recon is a full solution to track cars from acquisition to retail. So the platform was built in 2010 by a guy by the name of Dennis McGinn, who's the founder, who's here. So we're approaching 4,000 dealers and growing strong. So it's been really good show so far, and excited to see what the next couple of days bring us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's great to have everyone here in person, including Dennis. So that's what NAD is all about.
That's it.
So, Josh, what are your goals and initiatives for Rapid Recon here at NADA 2026?
Listen, I think everybody comes to the show really just for awareness. At the end of the day, we're a vendor partner, and we do want to sell, right? We want to make money. That's what this business is about. But at the end of the day, we want to have conversations, and we want to have really good conversations. Yes. And if those conversations lead to an opportunity to do business, then that's great. If it doesn't, it's also great, right? Because we educate ourselves and we learn. So that's kind of our goals here is just awareness.
Awareness,
right? Give
educating,
people, absolutely.
Planting the seed.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And we're just getting into 2026. So we have a whole year ahead of us. Tell us what's on the horizon for you guys at Rapid Recon.
So, we're always evolving. Rapid Recon Pro is launching, and there's some really cool integrations that are coming out. Some I'll keep quiet. And I'll do that just because I want you to come talk to us. So there's some really cool things. If you don't hit us at the show, you can always reach out to us direct. Hit the website up, rapidrecon.com, or call me on my cell. I'm not going to give it there, but you can always reach out to me.
Amazing. Josh DeYoung, longtime friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
And for those watching online, make sure to stay tuned because there are a lot more insightful and valuable conversations to come. Dealer Pay makes payments so easy, your customers might actually enjoy it. Let's see how Julie Douglas closes the deal.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Ted Ings. Today we are at Rohrman Automotive Group at Schaumburg Kia's big grand opening. And Ted, an important component of any operation is payments and how customers can have a frictionless experience.
Absolutely. We're so grateful to the Rohrman Automotive Group Schaumburg Kia to have us in. Julie Douglas is here from Dealer Pay. Julie, welcome to the
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so Julie, first question to you, our subject matter expert. How important is speed when it comes to payments, receivables, or reconciliation? And where do you see dealerships still losing time and money?
Sure. So it's a common thing, more in, more out, right? And they're using a payment solution that is slow or takes multiple steps. You're creating friction. So if you have a solution in place that has integrations, data, and is fasted, you're going to improve the customer experience and be able to be more cross.
Nick, your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, the days of walking up to the cashier and having a customer write out a check. I mean, I don't even have a checkbook anymore. I don't even carry cash. But offering a customer that seamless experience where they could get an invoice sent to them via text or email, review the invoice with the advisor if necessary, and then from there make a payment and come by and pick up their keys in their car and down it per day. I wouldn't want anything less than that. So yourself, that makes a lot of sense. That's right.
And Ricky, as consumers, we all, we get to pay for things on our phone and all that. And, now that's worked its way to the dealership to blood.
Right. That people can do it now from their phone. We send the paid link on their phones. It's also goes right through accounting. Really easy to track.
And your perspective, those are blowing. This key, the could be customer controls. Whether you send them a link, but you're handing them a card, and there's so many things that could happen from that. And when time takes over, then uncertainty sets in. And we've all been that, had to get our cards replaced and whatever else. And in today's time, when they tap it and it's done in a second and a half, we got to burn, those things. A lot of times we hang in antiquated equipment that simply takes forever. And look, my computer's catching up. Well, customers don't want to do those. So that creates those levels of uncertainty. We're trying to build trust. We don't need anything at all deteriorating results. Trust.
Julie, where do we see accounting and operational processes typically break down between service, carts, and the back office? And how have you created solutions to solve for them?
Sure. So I would say it's just lack of data. When dealers take transactions on standalone hardware, there's no associated customer number, RO number, customer information. So at the end of the day, when the controller or office manager comes to reconcile, she don't know or he don't know what transaction goes where. So it does create friction and it does take more time. So when there's an integration in place, like the dealer management system with the payment system that circles back to reconcile at the end of the day, I mean, office managers or controllers are saving 20, 30 hours a month. So it's a significant amount of time. So where dealers can really, improve these processes is look at your payment systems. I was talking the other day about, it's like the office doesn't use the payment systems, but they're typically the decision makers. But the folks using the payment systems, my service advisors, parts managers, et cetera, they don't make the decisions. And I think that disconnect can often cause a little friction as well.
Nick and Ricky, one of the things that you've noticed here at Schaumburg Kia has been the intentionality when it comes to the transaction process from F&I to service and parts. Talk to us a little bit about some of the strategies that you implemented in construction of this building to make that payment experience a good, positive one.
So, it's a great question, DK. From the finance office, from the service office, from my parts counter, a customer can make a payment. We can take a deposit from any which transaction has to take place inside the store. We still have a cashier, and we still cater to the customers that want to still visit a cashier, this, that, and the other. But we created a process to where at the time of write-up, we let the customer know that they're going to be getting a text message. It's going to be our portal for communication. At the same token, they can receive their multiple inspections, their tech videos. But we always close them to let them know that when the vehicle is done, ready for pickup, you will receive your final invoice. You can go ahead and make your payment from there. Our advisors had now see it's taking less effort now for our advisors. Now they're focusing on follow up with the customers, not so much, you know what I'm saying, go over the whole invoice, and they're doing it over the phone or do it by text, do it over email. It's worked tremendously here at the store because they weren't used to having that setup at the old location. So now we put the new store together and we got to lay it out so it flows best for our needs. So it's nothing but hot at all. That's
Every portion where you have to take money, we can do it at every cart service in the finance office. We literally don't need a cashier. Although we keep our cashier, but she's been with us for getting more than I keep all. But it completely almost takes the back end process out. And it's all done at each department.
Well, as dealers as a whole, we hate to let go of controls. And it really holds us back from being able to truly grow and scale our business. And like our store, we are going to have over 1,000 transactions today. And I need some type of automation to reconcile that. It can't be a manual reconciliation all the time. So you have to we have so much technology now, but at dealers, we find so many different places to work around that technology and not leverage it. And that's, when it comes to cash flow, it's instrumental that we leverage the elements that allow us to reconcile. We need to be able to reconcile moments. Because if there is an issue, you got to circle back to it, could be a positive. So choose the technology that's available to us already and letting go of that control that is so that not sure that your accomplishment did the accomplishment. Julie, one of the things that you taught me 3 or 4 years ago now is that that one of the last things, if not the last thing the customer remembers about the whole experience is the pain. Okay? And if it's full of friction, if it's full of wasted time, if it's full of questions and back and forth, that impacts the customer experience. So the question for you, Julie, how does the way a dealership handles payments the timing and methods and transparency impact the overall customer experience?
Sure. So consumers are savvy. I mean, when we go to restaurants, when we go to hotels, they want a quick and seamless experience. If that is not the case and they're waiting because maybe a terminal's rebooting or the internet's not fast enough or whatever the case may be, just the concept of them waiting or the whole experience becomes an inconvenient. So, we've seen studies where, it can decrease a CSI score 10, 15 points. So, yes, I completely agree that needs to be fast, it needs to be efficient, and it needs to, be a way the customer wants to pay.
I mean, it's a thankless process. If the customer reflects in any part of that transaction, the telling of the transaction, and we fail. This should be so seamless for them, it's not even a thought.
Tool like that, process delivery like that, inside the stores on one end, outside the store, a lot of customers shopping for parts, accessories, or they just receive their invoice for service. More importantly, mobile service. We're in mobile. The last thing we want to do is have our technicians waiting for a payment to go through because we can't get the payment quick enough. Now we're delaying the time getting to the next house that we have to visit or nice place to visit. So, leaning into the tools and having technology support and actually cut that in bulk before, like you said, not like you said, but around those rights, don't hold that control over it and let the data and just whether there's a built-in AI or the tool itself, let it do what it's doing to your settings. Well, people.
And Sarah, I know how important this has become now in fixed operations to payments, because when it makes its way to the cover of Fixed Ops magazine, which, as you can see, you've got not just one person on this panel, Julie Douglas, the face of modern payment convenience, on the cover of Fixed Ops magazine, and Ed Roberts, two people on the panel here. You are right here, but again, not as big a okay? That's Alyssa. Julie, this has become super important in automotive.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, it really has gotten a lot more traction. Payments used to just be a commodity. We got paid. I hope it made it to the Bay. So I'm glad that we're able to be here with you guys today and talk about it.
So exciting, Ted. And again, the energy is electric here today. So many incredible conversations. Thank you, Julie Douglas, for being part of this conversation with Ed Roberts and the Rohrman Automotive team of Ricky Perez and, of course, Nick Ruffolo. Ted, it's so exciting.
We'll be right back, everybody.
Hey, how would you like to pay? Card, cash, or check?
I will do a card.
Okay, thank you very much. And will you sign right here?
Sure.
Okay, have a great day.
Great, thank you.
Introducing Dealer Pay Moves, Dealer Pay's new mobile application for dealerships on the move. It's really great because all you have to do is search for your repair order. It's then going to search whichever DMS that the dealership is connected to. As you can see, it's going to pull up that customer record in that open repair order. I'm simply going to select it. Now you've got all your customer details here, including the surcharge amount if it were to be applied with a credit card. I've got options to pay by credit debit. I can key enter the transaction. I can use a paper check or even report cash. I can even add transactions in here so I can do some real-time voids and refunds. Dealer Pay Moves is a great solution for your dealership to stay relevant and mobile.
Widewail is here to turn feedback into fuel and call out a few things you've been ignoring. Please welcome Melissa Terrell.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Teddings. Today we have an incredible panel with Widewail. And Ted, we're going to unpack why reputation matters most in fixed ops today.
I think it matters more than ever, Sarah Van Tyne, and it's a great pleasure to welcome back to the Roundtable Melissa Terrell from Widewail. Melissa, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much, Ted and Sarah. It's fantastic to be here.
What a great time to be in the whole industry, right, Melissa? I mean, there's so much happening right now. And I know Sarah and I could not have imagined there'd be this kind of focus on fixed ops. And you've got an amazing topic on great work that you're doing at Widewail. So if it's okay, we have a couple questions to ask you today to kind of get things rolling, if that's all right.
Of course.
All right. So Melissa, to set the stage, can you tell us a little bit about Widewail, how it got started, and what is the problem you set out to solve for automotive retail dealers?
Of course. Widewail was actually born from auto. It was founded by an automotive veteran who really wanted to help dealerships create a competitive advantage by more effectively managing their online reputation, but at scale. Specifically, Widewail started focusing on how to do review generation and response well and at scale. And this was all out of recognition that dealers were getting thousands of customer touch points, but there was really no systematic way that they could capture and respond to that feedback. So over the years, we've had some really great success in both review capture. We generate 3x the review volume, have higher Google ratings, 100% response rate, and less negative reviews than the industry average. And we're now evolving rating and reviews to customer intelligence. There's really no better way to understand how to improve your business than listening to your customer. So we have this continuous review-driven read on team performance, on operations, so you can actually have a pulse on service quality, employee performance, and know where you need to take action.
Melissa, this is so timely because, today we're seeing an increased awareness of how important these reviews and the reputation that dealerships have, specifically in the competitive marketplace across different service departments. This is really front and center for awareness, and service departments often fly under the radar when it comes to reputation management specifically. And so why should fixed ops directors be paying close attention to what customers are saying online now?
Well, as you know, the dealer share of service has dropped to about 30%, and that's been declining year over year. It's a huge issue, right? I mean, you're directly impacting profits by facing more defection and customers not coming back to your service department. So you really have to find ways to combat that shrinking market share. And fixed ops has to focus on why customers are defecting and why they're not coming back or coming in the first place. And really, there's no better way to understand that than by listening to your customers. And what Widewail offers and can do is help identify those pain points and identify the loyalty drivers. So ironically, what we see is that despite fixed ops generating the majority of gross profit, it's often the department that gets the least attention in terms of the customer experience strategy. However, the reviews that we see from service customers are some of the most detailed, specific, informational reviews that any dealership gets. They name the service advisors, they mention wait times, they describe their communication processes. It is a gold mine of data, and leadership in fixed operations really needs to listen and understand what's working and what's not from the customer perspective. And when you do that, you create this really interesting flywheel. You have a mechanism to listen to your customers. You can then derive patterns and insights, take action on what you're hearing and what you're learning, then measure, did that action actually positively improve service retention, more service business? And then ideally that all leads to increasing profit. So creating this customer listening flywheel is vital to fixed operations in helping capture more market share.
And Melissa, you and I and Sarah were talking a little bit in the green room before we got started today about this, the authentic nature of hearing from the customer. And yes, it helps the dealer perform better, but it serves also a couple other great things that are happening right now in our industry in the way customers are looking to pick a service or parts department to do business with. And the new form of search is relying a whole lot on these reviews and what customers are saying. And that's really going to change the landscape of how dealerships are found. So the sooner the better that dealerships begin addressing this.
100%. There is such a shift right now in how consumers are shopping. A neat stat is that LLM traffic is up 550% year over year. Simultaneously, organic search traffic is down about 10 to 40%. And what it's really telling you is that consumers are looking for information in different ways. And they're asking questions, not just searching for car dealership near me. They're asking, what is the most trustworthy or price transparent service department for my oil change? And really, what fuels search now are reviews. The authentic customer voice is what people are seeking and searching, and the search engines know that. So they are prioritizing what they believe to be human-led reviews and then the responses to those reviews to create the right order of returns on those searches, which can be a very, very powerful thing for car dealers.
Melissa, we're curious. What are some of the common mistakes, the most common that you see dealerships making when it comes to managing the customer feedback in their fixed operations, in particular the service departments?
So I believe that feedback is a gift. Not everyone does take that approach. And so one big mistake that I believe a lot of folks are taking is not gathering all that feedback. So there's a concept called review gating where you would only solicit feedback from certain customers. You're not supposed to do that, but let's be honest, sometimes people prioritize who they're asking questions to. And I would just really like to encourage everybody to view feedback as a gift and try to gather as much customer information as you possibly can and really understand, again, what's driving both positive and negative sentiment. In response, though, you need to be quick to respond to your customers. Don't leave either positive or negative reviews sitting out there. Recency shows you care. Customers will see the recency of your responses to reviews and they will take signal from that. So I think it's very important that you very much have somebody either dedicated to or leverage a service that speaks on your behalf to engage your customers early and often. And that leads to a really good closed loop, right? I think that when you close the loop with a customer and you're addressing a problem they have or amplifying a great experience they have, not only will they become a repeat customer, but they're going to see that. They, being the consumer, will see that online in those interactions. I also think one big mistake is that you shouldn't necessarily wait for a negative review to do something.
Okay.
There's always something you can learn, especially from positive reviews. And you have a customer who's giving consistent good feedback on a service advisor. Go give that service advisor a kudos or a promotion or have them train other service advisors, right? There's a lot of action you can take in the positives that you're getting as well. So don't wait for reviews to be negative in order to do something. And then I think the most important piece as well is don't silo the data within your dealership. Everyone can have a hand in improving the customer experience. And the customer experience doesn't start and stop in one department. It's ubiquitous across the organization. And so reviews aren't just a marketing problem. They're a really operational signal. And that can be so powerful, sharing both in variable and across fixed operations. And giving that information is a gift in itself as well. So focusing on bringing that whole picture together is not something we see often, but it's something that we work with our dealerships to do day in, day out, because What we learn in fixed operations also applies to other parts of the dealership, and it's important to share that information.
Melissa, so much great practical advice that you've just shared with our audience today. And I know that a lot of fixed ops directors have a lot on their plate right now. There's a lot of strategies that they're looking, to implement and think about in their organizations alongside managing all the day-to-day business activities. And so, getting started or thinking about a better way to do this can be a little bit daunting. And so if a fixed ops director is listening right now and wants to start getting a better handle on their reputation, what are 2 or 3 things that they should focus on first?
Number one is start with volume. You really need to have the voice of the customer amplified in order to start learning. So ask yourself, are you consistently asking every service customer for a review? If you're not, consider starting to do that. One value of Widewail is that we have minimum 3x the review volume of the industry standard.
Wow.
And that again gives us, yes, it's pretty fantastic in the sense that you have more data to actually action on. And it becomes really great to interact with that number of customers, whether it is, again, a good positive experience or something you can derive a learning from. So I think number one is start with volume, make sure that you are asking customers for feedback, partner with a strategic vendor who can help you do that doesn't create work for you or your team. I'm biased, but Widewail is a great partner to do that. I also think that you should look at those language patterns coming back from your reviews, meaning what keeps coming up? Is communication always cited? Are wait times always cited? You don't have to be a data analyst or a data scientist to pick out themes in the reviews that you're getting. And I think that's a great place to start, right? So pick the 1 or 2 things that you see as a pattern and start talking about it within your team. Okay, communication keeps coming up. What's one thing that we can do different to improve communication? Maybe you institute a policy that you give a text message 30 minutes after a customer drives off to check in to see how everything's going, right? Something along those lines. It doesn't have to be monumental. It can be incremental change that can drive really big outcomes.
I love it.
I also think one thing that is very practical, and I mentioned this earlier, but make sure somebody owns response. You have to create and delegate and create accountability in order to really drive that customer interaction and that closed feedback loop. So whether you do it in-house or you outsource it, you need to pay attention to those reviews and you need to, in a timely manner, respond to them. It matters. 89% of customers expect businesses to respond to reviews. And then 50% are less likely to choose a business when that response seems generic or canned. So not only is it important that you're creating an authentic experience with your customer, but if you are partnering with a vendor to help augment response, that they also have, human-led offerings to help you in search as well as just creating really authentic relationships with your customers.
Sarah, Widewail is a great partner for dealers to work with, and no time better than right now, especially on the fixed side, with all the things happening, all the activity that you and I see happening in dealerships.
So true, Ted. And it's an incredible opportunity for our audience to learn more and to really unpack some better practices that they can be doing with their reputation management.
So, Melissa, for our audience watching, whether it's a dealer or a manager or somebody who oversees a specific department, if they have questions on how this could impact them, or maybe they have scenarios, that they want to reach out and get some professional advice, what's the best way for anyone watching to learn more about Widewail and explore whether it's a good fit for their particular dealership or for their group?
So very exciting. We actually have dealership scorecards for every dealership in the United States. So whether you're a Widewail customer or not, we have insight today and
Wow.
years and years of data that we can have a conversation of what's working and what's not working specifically for your location or for your group. So email me directly at melissaterrell@widewail.com, or call the number on the screen, or visit our website and request a demo. But we will walk you through your dealership specific data and provide exact guidance on customer intelligence and action that you could take to improve not only your reputation, but how you're showing up in search and how you're showing up for your customers.
Melissa, our audience watching, you have intelligence already, okay, on all the folks watching. And
Everyone watching.
all right, I love it. All right. Melissa, fantastic information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Sarah.
Exciting times in our industry, everybody. If you would like to learn more about Widewail and the specific services they can help provide your dealership, they've got the platform. Melissa Terrell, great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable community for many years, is with widewail.com. You can reach out to her on the web. You see her email scrolling there. There's also a telephone number you can reach out to Widewail, and we highly encourage our audience to do that. Melissa, if it's okay, Sarah and I would like to invite you back on the next roundtable and have Widewail tell us maybe a little bit more and go even more in depth, because it seems every couple months, Melissa, there's changes in the industry and things happening. So, I can't wait to explore this further with you folks.
Yeah, we'll have our new Voice of the Customer report published for Q1 here shortly. So would love to share that with you in the Fixed Ops community. Lots of great information, and again, very actionable for everyone listening.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Melissa Terrell, everybody, with Widewail, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you all.
It's sort of like a batting average, right? If you look at in baseball, if somebody's batting 400, they're going to the Hall of Fame. But that means that they failed 60% of the time. And unless you have the context of what other people are doing, what other batting averages are, you don't think that's amazing. I mean, they got to hit less than half of the time. That's garbage. And the reality is that's an amazing score, but you don't have that context until you push that up against the rest of Major League Baseball. And that context is what is missing at every dealership. Every dealership is saying, probably good enough. Yeah, we're going to have some mad customers. But you don't have any context at all unless you can see what everybody else is doing to understand what the averages are. From what I can tell and talking to customers, nobody has this information. Nobody has the benchmarking data. Nobody has the batting average capability to throw that out there and say, yep, this is actually best in class, even though you may think 40% of the time is bad. Nobody has the context of what everybody else is doing. And that's where the customer intelligence engine is super important, because you're comparing yourselves not to an arbitrary standard that you've set for yourself. You're comparing yourself to the market, and nobody's compared themselves to the market in the past.